Afternoon, guys. It is Rando Gamer here with another session of Paranormal Investigation. This is session 9, and it's picking up right after they dropped off the cultists at PICA. So they had made it to bed, and the following morning, kind of RP a little bit. They get debriefed with Dr. Reginald, and then go into the interrogation room to meet with the cultists and learn a little bit more about why they're after the sarcophagus and the Jinn, what they plan to do with it, and everything. Where they learned a little bit about the culture of Mu and some unexpected sort of features of the cultists that makes the investigators a little bit worried about what's going on with them as well. So now it seems like there might be two separate threats that have some overlapping sort of goals, but not the greatest sign for the investigators. Ultimately, they land on a lead that they already had with Archie the Boss Minato, and using their kind of connections in there, they set up a meeting, which should be happening in this upcoming session. But this one is mostly an RP heavy on getting some more information on what's going on around them, leading into doing some more research with the mob bosses and maybe internally on how to get rid of the latest Jinn. Some housekeeping items for the video itself. So there's some tweaks to the stats at the end of the episode. Instead of putting in all of the successes and failures, I've opted to only do above a normal. So you'll see hard successes, extreme successes, crit successes, and then crit fails as far as that. So there's a little bit less on those slides as far as content, just trying to consolidate a little bit and not make it look as cluttered with how many roles will happen in some of the sessions. So a little bit cleaner there. But thank you guys for joining. If you like the episode, make sure to give it a like. And if you like my channel, feel free to subscribe. Any little bit of support helps. And without further ado, here is session 9 of Paranormal Investigations. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys for joining me. It is session 9 of Paranormal Investigations. In our last session, we picked up right as our good friend, you don't have your name and it's throwing me off.
Oh, sorry. I'll change it. I don't know why it changed back.
Yeah, I don't know either. Were we in this one for something else? Gillis had found the trapdoor in the church that led down to the gang member hideout. And the cultists had been waiting for someone to find it, or they wanted to find it themselves, but because someone else had found it, they ended up converging on Gillis and... God, I'm blanking on her name right now.
Oh, starts with an H, I feel like.
It's L. Lorna.
Lorna, yes.
Luckily for them, Carmilla, along with Archibald, had picked up a new member, Dr. Savage, who was the doctor for the Luciano gang.
That's right! I remember now. Okay.
They had shown up to the church a little bit later because they were picking up Dr. Savage, and they were able to assist with taking out the cultists. There were some funny moments during this where Gillis kind of spent the first portion of the fight trying to run away. Archibald, misreading the situation, thought he was trying to embrace Archibald, so he had ran up and given Gillis a huge hug.
Yeah.
Dr. Savage proved to be very useful. He incapacitated one of them with a chloroform rag.
Yeah.
Gillis had taken some time at this point to tie up the incapacitated one, bleeding. Everybody else kind of had it in hand because there was this doctor that had single-handedly taken down a cultist and Carmilla toting a shotgun. But it ended up actually being Lorna who, after firing a handful of bolts, ended up shooting the other cultist through the eye, kind of killing him instantly. Following this, the investigators had kind of discussed how to approach things. They ultimately decided they wanted to interrogate the cultist, but because of the chloroform, they expected that he was going to be out for a few hours at least. Not wanting to leave the church without getting more information, they end up going down into the basement below to make sure they got all of the evidence and information without anybody tampering with it, since there was already 2 cultists that had attempted to kill them or prevent them from getting down there. Down at the bottom, Gilus, Archibald, and Dr. Savage had stayed up with the incapacitated cultist while the rest of the group had gone down. One of the things the group had noticed was the cultists, both of them, had no tongue, that they had been removed.
Yes.
At the bottom of the safe house, it was kind of sketchy as hell going down because it was like the spiral staircase with like intermittent lights. So it was kind of like half dark. Hello. As they were like kind of like making their way down. And the blood that was soaked into the carpet up above had like kind of like dripped down. So there's like this blood drip down the stairs as well. But they did notice that the bottom was very well lit, which initially seemed like it was going to be something very handy for them, but as they got down there, they realized that it wasn't great once they got to the room itself, because there was blood splatter across all the walls. There was like these animalistic sort of like tears and claw marks in the walls themselves. It wasn't a great sight. But as they kind of explored the area, they were able to find the empty sarcophagus with notes on how Vincent, who was the gang member that had summoned the creature, as well as a copy of Marion Allen's notebook. They did notice that the notebook itself was a copy prior to Marion Allen realizing summoning a djinn was stupid as fuck.
Yes.
So it didn't have like the counter spells or any of like the, hey, maybe don't do this sort of stuff in there. So as a reminder, this is an option if you guys choose to read. It'll take about 2 to 4 hours to read with a potential boost in occult and Cthulhu mythos if you do read it.
Perfect.
Violet,
real quick, Marion was one of the OG guys, right?
Marion Allen was the individual from Ross's Corner. He's the one that originally...
Yes.
He was like the leader of the Brotherhood that had summoned the
Yes.
Djinn,
Okay, that's right.
spent all the time trying to get rid of it and ended up getting killed.
Yes. Okay.
For you specifically, Violet, if you were to read this notebook, you've read it before, so you get a boost in occult, but no boost in Cthulhu mythos. Just if you opt to read it again. Lorna was able to make out that the summoning is slightly different from the previous one, which implied that each djinn is summoned slightly differently. So basically the spell or ritual chant is different each time. The outside of the sarcophagus was written in Egyptian, and it was clear that the words were different, but the inner portion of the sarcophagus was written in Mu, but it was the exact same as the previous sarcophagus, so you already had what that message was, which I think is in the world information, if you guys need to reference again.
Okay.
Based off of the wording of this, they're fairly confident that all 7 djinn need to be released in order to summon all Ahamar. Whether or not it's all released at one time or just released at some point, you're not sure. You guys would then kind of head back up and grouped up before heading out of the church to go back to PICA so that you guys could interrogate. Archibald ended up kind of like using his foot, kicked the other dead body over to the trap door and then down the stairs, so you guys didn't have to worry about hauling a dead body, and then proceeded to make your way out of the church. There was kind of a weird, ominous feeling as you guys walked out of the church where you could see on the nearby tree all the crows seemed to be staring at you. And like kind of also kind of out of the blue is Dr. Morietti was like making his way up the steps to meet you guys as you're making out. And the only person that sort of
caught on, and it took noticing some blood trail off to the side. And Dr. Moriarty kind of tried to play it off that there was like a dog that had been killed and like dragged off to the side. But Archibald really wasn't buying it, and using sort of like his private investigator insights, called out that who were you really, and
Oh yeah, because I totally was fooled too, right? I didn't think it was the djinn at the time.
And they sort of chuckled and revealed that it was the white djinn. So it was a white bestial creature with golden eyes and a set of horns. If I'm not mistaken, this was the Monday? White Kingdom Monday, yeah.
Yes, Kingdom Monday. Yep.
He, before anything else could happen, Carmilla unloaded her shotgun into his face. And as she goes to fire again, he grabs the shotgun, rips it out of her hands, throws it down as you see
Jesus
his face
Christ.
morph back to what it looked like before. And basically he's like, we can do this the painful way, or we can have a cordial conversation, since that's how I started this. Which everybody kind of got the message at that point, and sort of there's a Archibald and I think Gillis for a little bit, as well as Carmilla and Dr. Savage, tried to play hardball, not really revealing information. But Lorna, realizing there's no chance, was kind of forthcoming with answering questions, kind of assuming that he was going to figure them out anyways. You guys more or less bring him up to speed that you had encountered a djinn at Ross's Corners, and that's how you kind of knew what was going on with the djinn, where he confirmed that you guys had encountered the King of Friday, Zabawa, who was like the whirlwind djinn.
Yes.
He also alluded to him and his kind have been playing with humanity since the beginning. So basically that they've existed longer than humanity has. And ultimately what he attached you with is he wanted you guys to research where the rest of his brothers were, and that he planned on meeting you guys on the full moon in 20 days. He then proceeded to transform into a crow and says that he'll be watching as he flies off with the rest of the crows from the tree.
Damn.
This caused both Carmilla and Archibald sort of to start spiraling. Archibald specifically started singing a song that didn't exist yet under his breath, while Carmilla kept muttering under her breath that she needed a bigger gun.
Damn.
Hopping in their vehicles, the group had made their way out to PICA, where Sandra was sitting at the front desk and hits a buzzer to kind of like help get the cultists down to interrogation. Also kind of calling Reginald in while you guys had made your way over to the cafeteria to kind of like decompress, having a late night meal and some beverages. Archibald specifically chose to go with whiskey, basically downing an entire pint off the bat. You guys had then kind of discussed what your approach was, specifically starting with how the previous encounter differed from this one. Prioritizing that you probably needed to focus on a desummoning ritual for this djinn, and Lorna had brought up using potentially silver bullets, since this seemed to be a shapeshifter, and in her previous experience, shapeshifters might be weak to silver. Carmilla mentioning latched onto this as like sort of like the hope that was kind of keeping her grounded, mentioning maybe even getting an entire gun made out of silver as well as silver bullets, which everybody kind of like let her run down because she needed something at this point. Reginald had then made his way in. You could tell that he had been asleep, but he checked in with you guys at least to see how things were going. He had mentioned that you guys could debrief in the next morning, and that they would set up the interrogation with the cultists at that point as well. questions kind of got peppered to him pretty quickly. He did mention that silver bullets were in stock, depending on the gauge of the weapon, and that you guys could stay at the facility if you chose, but he would let you guys kind of dictate when the debriefing took place, since he had seen that Archibald had downed like another pint of whiskey, and felt that Archibald may or may not be awake anytime soon after he went down. Following this, Reginald had made his way out, and Archibald had basically passed out at the table immediately, leaving Gilus and Lorna to get him up to one of the rooms at the facility. Following this, Lorna had gone and checked in to get some silver ammunition for her crossbow, which they didn't currently have, but could potentially craft with their next silver shipment arrived. Dr. Savage and Carmilla had made their way back to his place since he lived in Arkham, and the session had ended with crows watching all of the different locations. So there was a crow outside of PICA, there was a crow outside of where Dr. Savage lives, and there was a crow outside of Carmilla's residence as well, kind of implying that, true to his word, the Jinn was watching either himself or via his other underlings. And that's where we're picking up. So if there's anything you guys would like to do, we kind of ended it with you guys sleeping, but if you want to do anything else this evening, we can start there.
Can I make a retroactive comment? Okay, I don't know if this would have had to be a conversation with Reginald or somebody else, but I was just looking up 1920s psychological torture methods, and I would like to have it so the perp that we're going to, the cultists that we're going to interrogate, I want them to be put in a room with very bright lights that are never turned off until we're ready to talk. Just to sort of start priming our guys.
Well, Gillis, I leave the interrogation to our experts. Based off of the necessity of this, they may have a technique that makes this even faster than the little bit of research it seems you may have done in torture methods. But I will assure you that all of the interrogation rooms are incredibly well lit, and we do not put them anywhere except for interrogation cells until we are done with them.
Okay, well, I better make sure that Archibald didn't piss himself, and I'll make my way up to his room to make sure he's okay.
Like flip him from his back to his sides, so that if he does,
Yeah. I mean, he throws up to the side and not choking on it.
As you approach Archibald, like, he's going to be talking in his sleep, and all you hear him say is just, "No, Nana, I don't want to trim the flowers again."
So I'll situate him on his side, and after doing so, I'll tuck him in like a dad does, like, you know, like a little burrito. You sort of like tucking out the blankets all around the sides of his body, and I'll just sit down.
Gillis, as you roll Archibald over, he actively pisses himself.
Oh no! Yeah, see, Gillis, he's not strong enough to actually deal with that, so he can't really. So I will sit by your bedside, though, and if you don't mind, just a little bit of a monologue. I'll sort of like to adjust one of my monocle, and you know, Archibald, and I'll just kind of look at him as he's pissing himself. This is what the world has come to, my friend. You might have been more of the chaotic individuals in this group, and unfortunately, my friend, and I'll kind of pause for a second, I think that's working against you. And I'll just like Are there any visible signs of his sanity being so low?
At the moment, give me a. Let's not pass up a chance to potentially get a checkbox. Give me a psychology roll.
I mean, he's
Okay.
pissing himself. He's currently talking to him. I feel like the sanity's pretty low.
Well,
He's also
well, to be honest, he's also
Oh.
drunk, and
I didn't
Archibald
know
has
that
been known to
part.
drink.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's been known to
Oh,
drink.
okay. All right.
yeah,
Never mind
he's
then.
he's blackout drunk. He passed out on the table.
Oh, I did not catch that. Okay.
Okay, so psychology. That's a regular success.
Perfect. As you're kind of looking over Archibald, his current state isn't like the easiest to give you like a good idea. But as you're like contemplating his like mental state over the last few weeks, you kind of remember that starting with the whole Dead Man's stomp module, specifically watching someone get revived after being shot point blank with a 22, that Archibald has kind of been like anxious around louder spaces. And if the noise is loud enough and like sharp enough, he sort of like will cower a little bit. So you feel like there's some lingering effects from that, as well as just inherently, it seems that like he's coping by like trying to play it off of like a joke, essentially. Pretty much every encounter you've had. Now it's hard to differentiate between that it being his inherent personality
Yeah.
and a coping mechanism, but you've seen it kind of like turned up to 10. Like as you're thinking back to like the encounter with the White King on Monday, he literally tried to downplay everything that the Jin was doing serious. Like every time the Jin said something very serious, Archibald was making a joke out of it, essentially. And you're not sure if one, if that's safe moving forward, or two, if that's an indication of like he's losing it. But it kind of solidifies in your mind that like he needs something, but you're gonna have to get through this next threat before you have a chance to really do anything about it.
As I sort of mold over that in my mind, I'll just like give a very worried, concerned look towards Archibald. Is the bed big enough? If I were to roll him over on his other side, he'd be out of his little piss puddle.
No, because in my head I'm envisioning this as like the
Like a
largest
twin?
side would be like a full, but twin was basically what I was thinking. It's kind of like
Okay.
dormitory style, where it's like,
Yeah, like a dorm almost.
yeah.
Okay, so I'll sort of stand up, realize I don't have it in me to deal with his state. I just look down and I'm like, Archibald, maybe it's not now, but I think there will be a time where I must tell you enough is enough. But, and I like start to turn around. I almost forgot. Take my take my card, and I like reach into my pocket and pull out a middle finger as I flip him off.
Yes, Grandpa, I wind all the clocks.
I'll just sort of pat his head in a very demeaning sort of way, and I will leave and exit the scene.
Okay. Violet, I realized in hindsight that we probably should have started with you. Is there anything, because I think since the last time you played, it's been probably about 2 months in game time. Is there anything that Violet's been doing over this period that you'd like to regale the party with, working on another book or anything like that, as we get into what she's doing currently? We'll say that you're probably still in New York at your apartment, the penthouse, but if you want to fill in any missing details up till that point.
Yeah, give us an idea of what you've been up to.
Well, obviously, Violet's still going around carrying her notebook, so that way she can write down everything that happens with all the things we go around to do. she does make sure to make note in her notebook about harassing Gillis over there when she does, trying to find out what he's doing. So she probably will have completed at least the next book at this point.
Okay, go ahead and give me a. What have we been rolling for yours?
Is
Was
a
it-
profession?
I think it's either library use or English, I think is what we've been having you roll, Violet.
I don't
English?
remember which one I've been rolling.
Feel free to roll against whichever one makes sense for this latest book. I would say language, English, library use, or I think that's might be it. As far as like skills go, let me pull up one to make sure I'm not missing.
No, I think that
anything
makes sense. Because yeah, that made sense most to me.
Yeah. Pick whatever one and go ahead and give me a roll to see if you got a credit rating increase off of this time gap.
And so we said English. What were the other two? I'm so sorry.
The English or library use.
Okay, library use is the one we're gonna go ahead and go for.
I thought you would.
And that was an 87.
which is
Is that-
fail,
is-
right?
Does that pass?
Yes, it does.
Oh Jesus!
Oh,
Your
how
your
high is your
library
library
use is incredibly high.
No, it has to be under the number. Sorry, I have
Yes.
forgotten how to play.
Okay.
It's totally fine.
I was like, Jesus
Oh,
Christ!
no.
Like, I know
No,
some
I'm
people
so
have some high
sorry.
values, but damn.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
that was my bad.
There's no downside to failing. It just means you didn't get a credit rating increase. The book you're working on, if I'm not mistaken, was the one involving Dead Man's
Her cousin.
Stomp. No, she finished that one. That one ended up being like a bestseller.
Oh, that's right.
Because she had like
That's
a
right.
double credit increase on the last one. This one, it's probably a little bit of like it's too close to home. So since you live in New York and you're finishing the book about events that just happened within the last few months, everybody seems to think it's more you just trying to take advantage of like the history there instead of like you write it as nonfiction, but everybody's been reading your books as fiction. So it looks like you were just trying to capitalize on recent events, so they don't like buy into it as much. But that does give you a good indicator that if anything else is happening in New York, maybe not writing it strictly speaking as it happening in New York might help. So that like the stuff that's currently going on writing your next book as if it's in a different city might help with it, so that it's not tied directly to current events, essentially.
All right.
But on this evening, we'll say Reginald will give you a call. He kind of informs you of like what's happened with their group at this point with the events at the church. You just didn't happen to be in the meeting with Luciano, and that was the split-second decision once they had talked with Luciano to go over to the church.
Yeah.
So you weren't able to kind of like meet up with the group in time to like be a part of the events of last session, or I guess the last two sessions. But he's now regaled you of those, kind of letting you know that everybody's planning on meeting back up at PICA, so that you can kind of regroup at that point and kind of set up from there. Is there anything else you're wanting to do in the penthouse this evening before we head over to Dr. Savage to see if he wants to do anything?
Nah, she's just gonna take the time just to kind of relax and do things for herself for the night. So she will put her notebook down for the night so she can relax.
That reminds me, I don't. This is just my headcanon. I can't remember if you posted a picture of what Violet's supposed to look like, but this whole time I've been imagining Violet looking like the vampire daughter from Transylvania, Adam Sandler's vampire daughter, whatever. What's her name?
Mavis.
Mavis, yeah.
In my head,
Maybe.
I've been envisioning from like the Great Gatsby, like one of those chicks because of
Oh,
like
okay.
how wealthy she is.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
That was it for me. Just gonna relax.
All right, Dr. Savage. You made it back to your residence. Carmilla dropped you off before she went back to hers. Um, is there anything you're wanting to do this evening, or we can pick up with meeting with Dr. Reginald the following morning?
I think he would have just gone to bed. He's definitely interested in this the next day, so I think he would have hit the bed pretty early.
Perfect. Okay. So there's a handful of you that are current, or I guess 2 of you that are currently at the facility. 2 of you that'll need to drive in. So I'll kind of give a general marching order of when people are getting up and wanting to meet up. I guess I'm leaving it open-ended. Who would like to get up and do things this morning first? And then we'll say maybe like 11 or noonish for meeting based off of how much Archibald had drank.
I think Archibald should go first.
If you want me to. Archibald will, he'll stretch, wipe the sleep out of his eyes. He's like, oh, man. I haven't slept like that in forever. And he looks down and he'll, well, who peed in my bed?
Oh my god!
About to spit my fucking drink.
He'll get up and change clothes. Maybe, possibly go take a quick shower to like rinse off and make sure he doesn't smell like pee.
Yeah, I guess I've described it as a dormitory, but expand on it. It's kind of like sort of like a hotel room, just like a twin side bed. So they're like consolidating space a little bit, but you've got like a twin side bed. There's a desk, like one that's got a couple of drawers and everything. There's a wardrobe, and then there's a bath area that's in the same room, so that like you have your sort of own private area in each of these rooms. It's not like the biggest shower. It's kind of like if you've been like European area where it's like the kind of like box where like you have enough to like turn around and stuff, but like it's not like the greatest space as far as like showers go. But it's also better than like, you know, a communal army shower.
All right, perfect. Yeah, he'll take a shower, get cleaned. As he's combing his hair in the mirror, he's trying really hard not to have kind of like a nervous breakdown because his sanity is
Yeah.
still not sitting pretty good.
Yeah, what does it look like? Do you just like look at yourself in the mirror and just start to sweat? Take me through it, dude. I want to hear it.
No,
'Cause
you can-
how low is your sanity? Like below 20, right?
No, it's at 29.
Oh, okay. Well, that's better than I thought.
I think Carmilla is
yeah.
actually lower than you at this point.
Because my starting was 40, so he's sitting at he's sitting
Yikes.
at 29 right now. And he's taking a few hits. As he's like combing his hair, because he's combing it back in that good old fashioned like slick. He's got, some wax that he's using, some Dapper Dan wax. But as he like just stares at himself in the mirror, it looks like he's on autopilot. Like he's looking at himself, but he's more like looking like through himself,
Yeah.
reflecting on everything that he's seen and witnessed. And he tries to shake it off and tell himself, "No, Archibald, old boy, you're better than this. You've been through some shit. But you got this." And a little tear kind of comes down his eye. And you've got this. He puts on his clothes and makes sure to put the flower on his lapel that
The
Gilus gave
carnation.
him. Then he's gonna go. He wants to go check to see how interrogations have gone.
For sake of brevity, not that we won't get to the interrogation, I promise it will happen. Reginald is planning on giving you the details on where the interrogation rooms and everything are once you've had your debriefing with him. So the interrogation hasn't started. It is waiting for you guys. That was kind of what he briefed you last night. Is that they will
Then
be
he's gonna
in
go
it.
find Reginald.
Perfect. We'll get caught up with how everybody else's morning is going, and then we'll come back to this. What time frame are you kind of envisioning, Archibald?
I'm sorry, Don. What was that?
What time frame was Archibald kind of waking up? So in my head, I had that he would probably be one of the last ones to get up because of how much he drank. That doesn't necessarily need to be the case. That was just my thought process on how it was probably going to go.
Yeah, let's say that his internal alarm clock like kicked on at about like 9:30, but by the time he actually walked out of his room, it was probably closer to 11.
Okay. Perfect. So that's kind of what we're looking for time-wise for everybody else as far as replacing.
Okay.
Okay.
To be brief, I know I'll have a couple of hours this morning to wait as we're waiting for our friends to come back into town. I want to just finish up a chapter of my book I'm writing for Violet.
Perfect. We'll roll for it to see how much progress you make.
Okay.
As far as like skill increases, that will only happen during developmental phases.
That's totally fine. It's more so just to get the book finished.
Perfect. Once again, you can go either English or library use, kind of depending on whether or not you're researching or if you're focusing more on like just word content.
If it's in the first tier, that's just regular success, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Regular success with a 45.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. You're able to get a few more chapters. I'm trying to remember. Yours is written from the perspective of like Ross's corners, right?
More or less. Well,
You're
yes,
writing
in a
the
sense.
whole. It's kind of like a whole thing where you're kind of like writing on your perspective of a writer writing about the paranormal, essentially.
Yes.
So with that role and your previous sort of like effort towards it, we'll say that you've kind of like written up as far as like timeline wise through like Ross's corners of kind of like your debriefing with PICA and everything,
Okay.
and how she kind of like internalized that information and was able to transcribe it into a book. At this point, it hasn't been revealed how successful that book was, but you're kind of up to the point where like she's finished writing it and was finishing up like the publishing process.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's it for me. And then eventually, once I'm all sorted, I will make myself an old fashioned because alcohol is available to here at PICA, right?
Yeah. If you guys head down to the cafeteria at any point, this morning the breakfast is one of my personal favorites. It's a country fried steak with a nice white gravy.
Dude, I love country fried steak.
There's a hash brown casserole, and you kind of have like an option of like getting some additional like sausage links or bacon to go with it, or you could pick like a biscuit.
Perfect. Yeah,
There's
I'll go ahead and get
always
myself a steak.
A whiskey barrel in here. If you remember how I described it last session, it's hidden in the counter and there's a tap that's unlabeled. Everybody that works at PICA knows the tap is whiskey. It just isn't labeled. As far as like making it old-fashioned, it's once they have the ingredients, kind of like your sugar and oranges. You just have to kind of like put it together yourself because there's just the hidden tap essentially and then the ingredients. But you're able to put together a decent one. It's not like the top shelf whiskey. You can tell it's here because people are dealing with some shit, but like it's not necessarily the best. It's not nearly as good as the glass of whiskey you had with Reginald out of his personal decanter whenever you guys met with him.
That's
Is
right.
it at least better than bathtub gin?
Current day
Might be
bathtub
about the same.
gin. I was gonna say current era bathtub gin, probably about the same. Because the way I'm envisioning
The distilling
it,
process.
this is probably from a local provider here in Massachusetts. So it's like a farmer that they've helped in the past. So kind of just adding lore-wise to PICA itself. Part of the organization is run off of just people they've helped in the past, giving them money essentially, because it's a non-profit organization essentially where they go out and do things, but it's a lot of donations that fund it. So in particular, there's a farmer that was helped ages ago that has been providing them the whiskey over the years. So it's kind of like, you know, any other like moonshiner during this time period where it's like it's fucking high alcohol content, necessarily not great quality.
3 X's on this jug.
Okay, one more thing, and then I'll be done. I'm sorry. I just thought of one more thing. When I'm done, like making my old fashioned as I'm eating, I want to write like maybe a 6 to 8 sentence long letter to my white buffalo that I will not send. And this is essentially just talking about how I feel like I have grown as a person traveling. Well, I mean, not traveling, but working with the new sort of people that I have, come to become quite familiar with. And that's it. Okay, please take it away.
Okay, Violet or Dr. Savage, how do you want to describe your morning?
Dr. Savage kind of turned in early, so I feel like he would wake up a bit early too. Specifically to make sure his business is going well since he runs a clinic. Just kind of checking on if there's any pressing matters he has to attend to or if things are running just fine. And then if everything's like within working order, he'll probably just read over some see if there's any new medical practices or new medical research before heading out.
Oh, perfect. I have never got to describe this before, so I am kind of excited for this.
Oh, how exciting!
So based off of the role I just did, we're going to say that your clinic is running in tip-top shape. Partially, I would say, coming from like your military background, is like you have kind of set up the clinic in such a manner that like, unless people are slacking the fuck off or like just stupid, you've put it up where it's very structured and like there's kind of like technical orders on how to do everything for the clinic.
Yeah, made it pretty self-sufficient, basically.
So like the secretary you have, like she's always on time because she knows that like you don't play, like you get like what.
Yeah, on time is sort of early is on time. On time is
late.
Late, and late is unacceptable.
And you have a couple like attendants is, I don't know if they existed in the 1920s, but I'm going to go with it. So you have a couple of attendants.
Nurses existed.
Wait, what are we questioning?
Nurses existed, so I guess I would have like at least a nurse or two.
Right. I'm talking about like the attendants are like the ones that like kind of like take care of the medical students, right?
Like residents?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I have I would be the attending, but I have a physician assistant or a resident.
Perfect. Yeah, so we'll see. You have like, how big do you want your clinic to be?
For the time period,
like a family clinic.
Like for the time period, it wouldn't be that big of a clinic. I'm thinking it would probably be like me and then maybe 1 to 2 other doctors.
Okay, perfect.
Which are my residents. So I would probably say two other doctors tops.
Perfect. Currently, you haven't had any sort of internships with like any medical students that are looking to kind of like build themselves up. So you currently only have your 2 residents, and they're about top notch. Like especially here in Arkham, like there's no one better. Your clinic is probably the go-to.
Yeah.
In fact, you've dealt with some of the folks from PICA before whenever their internal physicians couldn't handle it. So you're familiar with the facility as far as like an organization. This is your first time kind of like interacting with them outside of just providing some extra medical attention. So these guys are kind of like top notch, and there's at least a couple nurses to kind of assist with the daily stuff, but at the moment there hasn't really been an influx of like anybody needing medical attention. So like there's a couple
Okay.
people that have come in
Yeah.
to like get normal checkups, but like as far as Dr.
Sure.
Savage is concerned, this is
Yeah,
nothing
the
you need.
residents can take care of normal checkups. He's really only like if there's a surgery or anything.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, because like typically, if I recall, like clinics are like there are hospitals, but clinics they did surgeries back then too. So
The other aspect you mentioned was looking up if there's any new medical stuff. I'm going
yeah,
to
just
say
seeing if there's anything new in the newspaper or colleagues like research paper.
that's what I was getting on. Is you're kind of like in the mix with other doctors, both here in the United States as well as in Europe. So you regularly get academic journals that kind of like get passed around between other medical facilities.
Yeah.
The one that you've been working on, reading through, it has some sort of like theories as far as like, no, he is not European, but
No, he's American, but he's well traveled.
Oh, I
he
understand.
fought in
Okay,
World.
Yeah,
Sorry,
like he's very much a man of culture. You know, like the
Oh.
commercial. He's the most interesting man.
and what I was implying is that he doesn't necessarily need to travel. He's just a well-known physician, so he gets
I see.
academic journals from other physicians
Oh,
on theories
okay,
and medical
cool.
science and stuff.
That's
Sorry,
badass.
yeah. This one in particular has some like concepts as far as like new approaches as far as psychiatry, sort of like psychoanalysis stuff goes. It's not really your wheelhouse, but
Yeah.
having interacted with Gillis and what Archibald has mentioned, you kind of read into it a little bit more than you have before to kind of get a better vibe of what Gillis does as an individual.
Yeah. He's definitely more of the human body and stuff.
Right.
Outside of that, if there's anything else, we'll say you kind of, based off of your early morning, I'd say you'd still get there probably before Archibald has made his way down. But other than that, we'll switch over to Violet unless you had something.
I have one question.
He was
Oh, go
just
ahead.
gonna walk. He was just gonna walk to PICA, enjoy the nice day, and get his cardiovascular in.
Perfect. I know we.
Can you give me? I'm sorry.
We've established that you live in Arkham. How far away from the facility would you like to say you are? So basically defining how long of a cardio session you get out of this.
I think by car probably. It's a city, right? So maybe I don't know, tops 15 minutes. So for a walk, probably closer 35.
So like a mile and a half, 2 miles.
Yeah, like maybe 3-4 blocks.
Perfect.
Okay, I need a reminder of the world map. Arkham is in Michigan, which is where we're at in PICA, right?
Arkham is Massachusetts.
That's what I meant to say. It starts with them.
Yeah. Except Michigan's like fucking Midwest, so like half the fucking
Yeah, sorry.
country
Yeah.
away. You guys did do
So-
something out that way. That was stuff with Violet's cousin. That was out.
That's right.
That is that Michigan? I think that was Michigan, or it was Wisconsin, or something like that.
Okay.
Anyways.
And how far away is Arkham from New York? It's like 2 or 3 hours, right?
Yeah, it's a few hours from New York.
Okay. Okay, that's all I need to know. All right.
Which brings us over to Violet. Who
Yes.
is currently in New York City. You got the message the previous night. You know that to kind of like meet up, it's going to be a little bit of a drive, so you're going to need at least 2 or 3 hours to drive. What things are you doing in the morning, and when are you planning on heading out to make it, to kind of give an idea of when Violet's making it down to meet up with the rest of the group?
We know Violet likes to be, before everyone else, so she likes to be early. So what time are we supposed to be meeting at PICA?
It wasn't set. Reginald kind of gave you the vibe that based off of Archibald's state, that it would probably be around 11 or noonish before you guys would meet with him, just because he was giving the group however much time it needed before he debriefed, but expected that Archibald was going to be down for the count for a little while longer than most of the group.
Okay. So Violet's gonna wake up about 6 a.m. She will go kind of refresh herself and then get dressed. Can I say that she has a personal driver?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god! You can afford one for sure.
Yeah, she's fucking rich.
Oh, what's his name? Oh, sorry, it could be a girl. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead and describe said
Yes.
personal driver and what they're driving.
Yes.
Please name them Jeeves.
Well, my driver's gonna be a girl.
Name her Jeeves.
Sure.
Davina.
I guess
you should
she
be
will
driving
be.
around a Rolls Royce.
Or whatever the 1920s equivalent was.
Said we're in the 1920s.
Yeah.
1920.
Yeah, Rolls Royce Bentley. Look at
Yep.
that shit.
Yep. God, that's beautiful.
That's a good looking car.
Yeah, it
goddamn.
is.
Oh, I want that car, dude.
It would have cost. Oh my God! It would have cost $12,900.
And she afford that on her author income?
She's effectively a millionaire in the 1920s.
Okay, so yeah, it doesn't matter.
So she will have that car and a
I'll post
dark,
a picture.
dark
Do you
blue.
know how much your worth is?
That's like the Cruella
Not
de Vil
quite.
car.
I mean, it's kind of vague.
Your credit rating determines how wealthy you are. So depending on the percentage in that kind of
Oh,
price.
80.
Oh,
So,
which I'm glad I described the way I did, where you have like a highly functioning clinic.
yeah,
and-
I'm rich.
Yeah, which I mean, to be fair, a doctor in the 1920s should be rich. So,
Yeah.
so I think you're on par with Violet, if I'm not mistaken. Because Violet isn't yours right around
Ooh, I'm a
70s,
millionaire.
80s.
I'm posting a picture in the chat of the Bentley.
Hold on, I found something better.
Oh, shut up.
I did.
I'm faster than you. That's all that matters.
Oh boy.
Stop taking my job.
Okay, so your driver G's, or whatever you would like to call her.
I'm gonna call her Mildred.
Mildred.
Ooh,
That
nice.
is a 1920s name for sure.
Her name's Mildred. Mildred. Wow. She's a bit on the older side, so she's got like short graying hair. She wears a cute little hat. Yeah. So Mildred is.
I like a little tiny little maid's hat that's like a quarter of the size of her actual skull.
Yes.
Yes, cool.
She's able to
So
drive you down to Arkham, and she doesn't necessarily speed, but she is one of like the older chauffeurs that like kind of has a lead foot. And
Nice.
since like regulations as far as like roads go weren't like super strict at this point in time, and you had enough money anyways, she's able to make this time and a little bit faster than any other trip you made down this way, aside from when you've been in her vehicle. And she pulls up. Are you having her stay at PICA to drive you back, or are you going to rely on the other individuals to give you a ride?
I'm gonna have Mildred kind of hang back and kind of chill while we do the debriefing and figure out where we're gonna go from there, and then decide on if I will keep her and we can use her and her car, or I can send her home.
Perfect. Okay.
Take the long lunch, Mildred.
So we'll say Violet and Gillis, you guys kind of like start to coalesce about the same time based off of when you described when you guys were making it in. Dr. Savage, because you had a little bit of work and just stuff in general, and you knew exactly when you needed to be there. You arrive early, but it's not as early as Violet, who's like, it's in her like system that she has to be earlier than everybody else. Um, so you've got like a 30-minute buffer, and eventually Archibald makes his way down. Archibald, were you wanting to hit the cafeteria before heading over to Professor Reginald's office, or were you wanting to just head straight there?
No, he will definitely stop by the cafeteria, get a nice cup of coffee, try to clear his head, wipe the sleep out of his eyes.
Perfect.
Find
So,
something for breakfast.
our non-facility individuals, that's where you find Gilus and Archibald, is in the cafeteria. Gilus has just finished up this country fried steak. It had like the perfect amount of tenderness and like the crunch, and it really hit the spot.
God, stop, please. You're killing me.
The coffee that you had, Archibald. I mean, it's a good cup of coffee, kind of similar to the whiskey. It's not the best cup of coffee, but it's not the worst cup
It's
of
all
coffee.
been donated.
And it's better than like if you go to a hotel and you've got like the instant fucking coffee that you like rip the like little plastic or the little package and like dump in and add water.
Right.
Like it's better than that, but like it's not great.
We talking Folgers then?
Hey, what do you have against Folgers?
Oh,
I'm
shut
not,
up,
I'm
dude.
not an
Folgers
avid
is not
coffee
good.
drinker in general, so like I don't necessarily have an opinion, but like, sure.
Yeah, like Folgers, Archibald will gladly drink Folgers because it's nostalgic for him. It reminds him of good old Grandpappy rewinding those watches. As he takes a sip of it, he looks at you, Gillis, straight in the face, and says, I like my coffee, like I like my men. And he winks at you.
Initially, you think the reason why I react is because of your comment, but you'll notice that when you approach me with your black coffee, I quickly fold up a piece of paper that I was just writing down on and stuff it into my little coat jacket pocket. Oh,
Archibald
yeah.
takes note of this.
Yeah, black coffee, right? I just looked at you nervously.
You're hiding something from me there, old boy.
I am not, I promise. I just didn't want you to spill coffee on this paper that I have right here, and I'll just sort of pat my chest.
Sometimes I can be a little, clumsy, I guess, you see. However, remember, I'm a private investigator, and he points towards his eye. I see everything.
I know, and that's what terrifies me. And I'll give you the same concerned look that I gave you last night when you were unconscious.
As you guys kind of like group up here in the cafeteria, we can continue RPing in the cafeteria if you'd like, or we can see you guys then head over to Reginald's office. It's Lynette currently sitting at the front desk, who is the morning shift individual. Sort of kind of gives a vibe of like a ditzy blonde, but like you can tell that she's pretty competent at her job, just based off of her. It's one of those, especially like in an early morning, if you're not ready for it, she's like a very like cheerful, like energetic individual. And she'll mention that Reginald has been waiting for you guys, and that as soon as you're ready, you can just knock on the door, and he'll call you in.
So everyone showed up?
Yes. They had met.
Yes, Gallus, we're waiting.
Good morning.
I look over to Dr. Savage. Aren't you like a buff guy? Aren't you like pretty like?
He's pretty well
stocky?
built, yeah. I mean, he's definitely he has like a morning military. Like he keeps up his basic training routine of like a few kilometer runs, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, or whatever it may be around that time. So I wouldn't say he's ripped. He's definitely not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he definitely could outrun pretty much the average man.
Yeah, you could beat my ass really fast before I could even say stop.
He's definitely stocky built. Like he's got some pump.
He can eat your ass. Now, correct me.
Maybe.
Correct me if I'm. My memory's a little hazy. Have our characters had a chance to be introduced?
Technically. Well, not Archibald, right?
It was
Archibald,
mid-battle. I don't think he's definitely not met
Off
Violet, and I
screen-
don't know about Archibald.
Off screen, Archibald, you were with Carmelo whenever you had picked up Dr. Savage. And then you
Oh, I
met,
see.
Then everybody regrouped at the church. So, like, technically Dr. Savage was with you all of the events of last session.
Oh, okay.
Whether or
Right.
not you did any formal stuff, no.
No, I
Violet
don't think we really
has
did.
not
I think
been introduced to Dr. Savage.
I don't think we really said greeted each other much more than hey, I'm trying to help you.
All right. He does want to have dialogue with you then, but I don't want to cut in front of Gillis because you were talking first.
No, honestly, I was more coming from a meta perspective. I just needed a little bit of a reminder of what Dr. Savage looked like.
I
Okay.
believe I posted a picture.
Oh.
in the
Yeah, we had
chat.
like
You might
3
have to
different
scroll up some.
versions of him at one point.
He definitely is a Ra's al Ghul kind of look.
I was wondering if that's what it was, dude. For some reason, maybe I just remember that from last time, but
He's
that's what I've been thinking.
He's very dapper. You can tell he doesn't flaunt his money a ton, but he definitely well dresses in money.
Where was that posted?
He's definitely one of those first impression, good impression kind of guys. He shows up to every occasion in a very good suit and tie, and he's got a suit for every occasion. He's like the guy from Family Feud. He's got all kinds of different suits. Steve
Cool.
Harvey. He's got a suit for every occasion.
I'll hand it off to Archibald. I will just make one inner monologue comment as Gillis looks over at Dr. Savage, and he just has a moment of jealousy. He wishes being young again, like Dr. Savage is, and it seems like he's rather successful with the amount of suits he has, which Gillis does run a successful practice, but not as successful as some of the other party members here. So he only can buy a nice suit every couple of months.
If I remember right, I don't think he's 35, so he's not super old.
Oh yeah, dude, Gillis is in his 50s, so.
So
all yours.
yeah. So Dr. Savage. Fuck. What the hell's my name? Archibald's going to. Archibald approaches you and he sticks out a hand to shake yours, and he tells you, "Archibald Whitley, private investigator. My badge. Tell me, I have a question for you, Sonny." And he pulls out a pocket watch and dangles it in front of your face. You can see very clearly that this
Oh my
pocket watch is
god.
broken, and it's stuck on the time 11:34. And he goes, "Do you know what this is?" As he waves it in front of your face.
A pocket watch.
Exactly. Sharp man. And he sticks it back into his pocket. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, somewhat.
You're about to believe a lot more. You're about to see a lot more. And he puts his hand on your shoulder and
I
says,
feel
"Okay,
like I've seen plenty, but
well, you're going to see so much more. Things you never thought were possible or could even exist. But don't worry. I got your back." And then he turns and walks away from you.
I'll lean over because I imagine I'm sitting down next to Dr. Savage at this point in time. I'll just lean over and whisper, "Yeah, he is clever, but sometimes, and I'll just kind of shrug."
he's listening to you as he's lighting up a joint, because I believe weed was legal back then.
I don't know.
I think it
Clarissa?
was.
Please.
Working on it.
They had it. They had it on all kinds of medical recipes.
They legalized it like in the 50s or something like that.
Please.
Because of,
It was legal until Ronald Reagan, I think.
yeah, because like and it was all because of like some fucking Mexican.
It was the criminalized blacks and Mexicans.
Yes, and marijuana comes from like the Mexican
But
word.
it was used by workers and even
Right.
whites constantly
Yeah.
all the time.
Marijuana was
Yeah.
first made illegal in the United States in 1937.
Oh, you're good then.
Yeah, he actually sells it as part of his medical practice as a pain relief and an all-curing tonic.
Wow,
Tonical
ahead
smoke.
of your time.
Yeah, he uses that shit like crazy. He believes and he sells it to his people. But yeah, he'll light up a joint and just kind of get with the times.
I will ask a question to Violet while we're waiting. Again, I'm assuming we're all sitting down, so I'm not to force everybody into that sort of headspace, but I'll lean over my other shoulder towards Violet. Hey, Violet, I have a question for you, if you wouldn't mind answering.
So Violet obviously has her notebook out and has been taking notes in it. So she lightly, like slightly puts it down, gives you a look, and says, "Yes."
I will, in not a passive aggressive way, but I will look down at your notebook and look back up to you and say, maybe this could be off the books. I am working on something for you, I almost called you Julia. Sorry, Violet. And I am not the greatest at it. And I was wondering if, when I'm done, you would be willing to proofread my work.
Pauses for a second, looks down at her notebook again, writes a little thing, looks
I
back
set
up
up the
at-
books.
She looks up and be like, "I know you set off the books, but I'm still putting it in my book. But yes, I will gladly proofread it for you." And then goes back to her notebook.
Right, of course. Thank you. And then I will tap my leg impatiently as I look down the hall for our expected meeting.
You'll see Reginald's office open as he looks out at Lynette. Lynette, you told them to knock on the door when they're ready, right? I feel like this is even later than I expected for them to make their way down.
I give the most darts look I can when I look over at, what was her name? Eleanor?
Lynette, she did tell you.
Lynette.
Y'all missed it, though.
Well, Lynette, you still get my scorning look.
Oh. Lynette, hold any other people for the next however long it'll take for our debrief. Please come in. I didn't realize you were waiting.
I thought you
Oh.
never asked. Archibald's the first one to walk through the door.
Yes, thank the Lord. And I'll stand up and sort of adjust my sort of mustard yellowy colored suit.
As you guys make your way in, for everybody except for Dr. Savage, it's the same room you've been in before. So you've got the sort of like fancy whiskey decanter that looks like a globe back
Cool.
behind him with like a bookcase. He's got a nice mahogany sort of desk, and there's a handful of like chairs where he can kind of like talk with individuals. They're like I'm envisioning like they're like the leather chairs that have like the like buttons sort
With
of
the
like
buttons?
Yeah.
And they're like kind of high up and they kind of have this thing at the top. Yeah. It's like the chair a therapist would sit in.
There's lights, there's singers.
As you guys kind of like make your way in, he'll look at you. Now, I don't necessarily need all the details. Lorna has been kind enough to go ahead and fill out the debriefing form with like the intricate details. She did that earlier this morning. She mentioned needing to go train with the crossbow as well as do some additional research, and wanted to get started on that before the debriefing and was leaving that to you guys. But why don't we start with you regaling of what has happened since you guys had finished with the events with Leroy Turner. I am tracking, you guys have kind of filled me in when you brought the trumpet here on those, but I know that you had started researching some additional Jin at that point, and we're planning to meet with Lucky Luciano to potentially track down another Jin. What kind of happened from there?
Well, we ended up meeting with Lucky Luciano. And oh, I'm sorry, DM. I'm failing as a player at the table. I don't remember how that conversation went.
You don't need to give me specifics. Like I said, I gave you an out that Lorna's already given like intricate details.
Okay, perfect.
Give me general overview. It's more for him to kind of like play off of as far as RP goes.
To be honest, Reginald, I'm sure the other people in this room will be able to add more detail, but after talking to Lucky Luciano, we went to this abandoned church, and upon going inside, found dastardly levels of something that was a little nefarious. And upon going to the church, there were some cultists that immediately spotted us. It was the most scariest thing in my life. Well, maybe not the scariest, but adrenaline was high, and I just hoped in that moment that Lorna would have the ability to kill all of them before they touched me, because there was no way I would be able to fight them off. They were ravenous. But it was perfect though, because right when we thought we were gonna lose our lives, the cavalry came in, and I'll sort of gesture over towards Dr. Savage.
Ah, yes. I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting. Professor Reginald.
Yes, Dr. Savage. Local physician, expert in body and biological.
Oh, yes. I believe we've sent a handful of folks over to your facility when we couldn't handle them ourselves. It's a pleasure having you added to our team. After Dr. Morietti became overwhelmed with his work and wasn't able to move around with the team as often, I felt it sort of a dip in quality of the overall team because they didn't have a medical professional. So having a new, sorry, Gilus, not an affront to the psychology aspect, but
I adjust my monocle.
specifically.
Yes, all the insult intended. Anyways, you were saying.
I'm just glad that we have another individual that can help with bodily injuries on site as needed. But you want to fill in some details. I have a little bit more notes that I was able to read through from Lorna, but I'd like to hear from you guys on your perspective.
Well, I don't want to take the entire update here to myself, but I will add that Lorna and I have been crafting up, due to the amount of research we were able to do, realize that the djinn that we were messing with as far as like the trumpet was concerned, and even now, after our encounter with the cultists at the church, that we are dealing with a djinn that is a shapeshifter. And he has given us a task. And unfortunately, that task aligns with our goals. So it seems as if he asked us to find the rest of his brethren. more or less, that was our goal. But now, because our goal aligns with his, I'm worried of that fact. Like, what happens if we do
We
find
are
all
the
his
Skaggs
brethren?
family, Matthew and Cosette, and we are owners of Jellyfish Lighting.
So, I don't know. We saw him transform into a crow before he left, and he said he'd be watching us, which is frightening. And I look over again. I know I wish Clarissa was here, but I concerningly give another look towards Archibald.
Before I give any sort of my opinion on the matters, Dr. Savage, did you have any details to elaborate?
No. I think the details that have been elaborated have been sufficient.
Okay. Based off of what Lorna's added in, it was disappointing to read that more than likely Dr. Moriarty is dead. We'll send some folks up to the church to confirm that where the body may have been left. In regards to continuing to research the other Jinn and finding locations, I do advise continuing that.
Of course.
At a minimum.
But did you see my concern?
Oh,
Why
I am indeed.
Why is a Jinn aligning with us?
Oh, I don't believe he's aligning with you, dear boy. I believe he's wanting to bring all Amar back and wants to know where the other sarcophagi are so that he can summon his brethren. But since you do indeed need to know where the other ones are so that we can secure them and make sure they are safe, at least continuing down that plot of research and finding them will, at a minimum, keep him off of our trail. Because the other recommendation is that what I assume you guys have likely already begun to do and plan is to get rid of him with the desummoning ritual as we're doing this. So while part of the party is researching here in the facility where he has no ability to see what is happening,
You cut out just a little bit, sorry. While half the party is researching what?
Well, half the party is researching here in the facility, which does not allow supernatural things in unless we summon it here. You can complete the desummoning ritual, and if I'm not mistaken, based off of your description of Ross's Corners, if you create the summoning ritual here, say in one of our interrogation rooms, it will summon it into our building without the need of going back to the church or fighting on its turf. Now, it's a theory, since we haven't fully tested it, but the way you described it is the summoning circle was in the living room of the house, and the Jinn was not there. And when you started the ritual, it got pulled into the center of the circle, and then you were able to send it back to where it came from. So, in theory, the same thing should occur once we've completed the necessary research to create the summoning circle for this Jinn. The reason why I say only part of the party is the rest of you need to act like you're doing exactly what he says. Because my guess is you're already being watched if he has even a handful of other shapeshifters under his control. You wouldn't know who they are. They could be some random stranger on the street that have been sitting outside the building, or other animals. So you continue doing exactly what he said, finding the other Jinn, which works for us because if you can find them, once we get rid of him, you're already working towards your next objective.
Yes, and that's what makes this tricky, because it could be any one of us. And I will give the most sus look to everybody in the room right now. Specifically Reginald.
I will remind everyone that this only is successful if you do not tell the Jinn, if he confronts you, that we are actively working on getting rid of him. Do not bring up anything that is happening in this facility as we move forward. He doesn't know, and the only way for him to know is if you tell him.
I'll just give Reginald a very stern look. Of course.
Now, on a lighter note, I am impressed with your guys' work. It's not very often that you come face to face with a supernatural entity such as the one you face, based off of the way Lorna wrote it in here. It's not surprising that Carmilla has been actively sitting outside the armory, waiting for them to create her silver gun since she woke up this morning. I will remind you that while this being is incredibly physically powerful, the larger concern comes from here.
Well, Reginald, I could sense that this meeting might be coming towards an end. Hold on. Sorry about that. I can sense that this meeting is coming to an end, and I'm just wondering. I don't know how intimately aware you are of the protections that this facility has from the paranormal, but is there any way we can take that to a smaller scale when we're out in the field?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like, is there some sort of ward on this facility? What makes it so things can't get in here?
There's warding symbols placed along the structural beams of the entire building. As far as when you guys are out in the fields, you can place wardings on locations you could research in the library as far as like the specific ones to apply. I believe you encountered them at Ross's Corners.
Yes.
So you could use those to protect a location. So like your personal homes, you could apply these in there. We prefer to do it in a means of hiding it so that other people don't ask too many questions. But as far as like you as a person, it's not necessarily feasible.
I was afraid you might say something like that. Well, it sounds like we need to do some research on where these other jinns could potentially be located, and in the meantime, keep a facade up of looking for these other jinns. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a facade. We are genuinely going after them, but...
Yes, I would say researching specifically how to desummon this Jinn. You already have how you desummoned the last one. It's essentially updating the ritual for the new Jinn. I would highly recommend only doing that in this facility so that no one can see. Or not specifically no one, but the Jinn and his minions cannot see what you're doing. Researching the other Jinn and their locations, and then kind of moving from there. Like, as I was finishing up though, I want you guys to really focus on avoiding confrontation, because while the physical strength and ferocity of this creature is overwhelming, what you see from it will likely break your mind if you do not protect yourselves. You know it exists, and you have a general idea of how to get rid of it. Leave it at that. Do not go looking for a fight. Now, I have been informed that the interrogation rooms have been set up. The first one down on the floor below has your cultist that you brought us. Our best men have been placed on this specific one, including one of our translators of the BU language. So you should have no issues.
You cut out just a little bit there. Sorry, Don.
Our best interrogators have been placed on it, including our Mew translator. So feel free to head down that way, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Please let us or any of the other individuals here at the facility know if you need anything else, but I think you have a solid plan moving forward as far as what you should do.
I'll look over the rest of the group. Well, shall we? As I adjust my monocle and correct my vest.
Now, there's no chance you could let me in there with them for like 5 minutes.
I'm sure the head interrogator will let you do so, but I will leave it to him to kind of give an overview of how things will be run down there.
All right, well, if you don't get anywhere, let me know. I'll make them crack.
Well, we're going there now, Archibald, so we will get something from them, I'm sure.
I get something from you.
That's disgusting. And I open up my I open up the door for the rest of the party.
Perfect. As you guys make your way over to the interrogation room, it's like I said, it's the floor below. There's a long hallway, and off to the side you can see like side sort of rooms. The way I'm kind of envisioning it, this is probably a deep cut unless you've watched it, but the second season of Heroes where they had like some high level supers, kind of how their rooms were set up, where there's like a walkway and there's like glass where you could see down into the room, and the interrogation room itself is lower than that.
Yes.
So the side rooms have like stairs down to a door. So basically like anybody that's not actively in the room is like looking down at the individual essentially.
So instead of like a one-way mirror, we have like a skylight view.
Skylight, it is a mirrored skylight as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Dude, I haven't watched Heroes for a long time. My teenager self just came a little bit.
Right, I love that show.
Oh, I love it. Even though it turned into shit over time, I still love it.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
there's a reason behind that, but anyways.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, we don't need to get into that.
At the moment, the first room, like Reginald had mentioned, it seems that the cultist is the only one currently, because that's the only one that's lit up, being held. As you guys kind of look down the skylight, you can see that he's being tied up to a metal chair with a metal table in front of him. You can see that he's awake and kind of struggling, but it's clear that his bonds are preventing him from getting away anytime soon. You can see on the table there's a couple of bottles with some unknown liquids, and there's 2 members of PICA inside the room. Lorna has caught up with you guys, and she'll kind of point out that one of the ones in the room is the lead interrogator, Miles Bridges. He's a man in his mid-30s and has a scar on his cheek with brown hair and a muscular build. He's currently in a brown suit. The other individual she's not familiar with, which implies that this is probably the translator that Reginald was mentioning, and probably not from this location. They seem to be in some islander descent with a little bit more brown skin, similar to like Polynesian or Pacific Islander sort of like skin tone. As you're kind of like comparing him with the cultists, you can see that they have some like similar skin composition implying that they might be from like a similar region, which is probably why they're the translator.
Okay.
Before we get into the next part of the interrogation, let's take a quick 5-minute break, mostly just because I need to go pee. As you
I think
guys,
so.
Perfect. As you guys have made it up, like I said, you're kind of like looking down through like the skylight sort of window at the moment. There is a little like side path that goes down to the door below. You can tell that the interrogation is set up, but it has not started, and that's where we'll pick up.
So the gentlemen that you introduced us to, were they inside the room or were they? Okay.
Yeah, so you can see like Miles is kind of set up, kind of like you would expect. He's not sitting at the table, but he's kind of like on the opposite side of the table from the cultist. The Pacific Islander sort of individual is standing in one of the corners. So like he's not leading the interrogation, but you can tell he's in there because they're expecting this person to be speaking a different language.
As we are sort of like peering down to our specimen that we will interrogate, I will look over to the rest of the group. All right, everybody. I don't know what information we'll be able to get out of this interrogation, but which tone do you think we should all try to subscribe to? Because I think we need to be effective, sharp, and to the point. And I don't want someone to be playing good cop if we're all agreed to be bad cop. So what's the tone? I'm a little out of my element here, to be honest.
Gilus, you just gotta be tough. Pretend, if you have to. Like, who was your childhood hero?
Are you asking me sincerely?
If I say yes, will it make you feel better about the question?
I don't know. Popeye, is that real at this time? I don't know. I know Popeye's old, but I don't think he's 1920s old.
1929.
Ah, shit. Is that close enough, DM? Because it is 1920s.
1923 is where we're currently at.
Okay, well, fuck me. I don't know. I guess my dad.
Your dad a tough man?
Yes, I always had to talk to mommy about it.
Well, he puts his hand on your shoulder and says, Gilus, channel your inner daddy.
Dude,
Oh my God.
for the first time that you have met, you've known Gilus, you see a childhood response in his eyes for a split second because of your detective abilities, and he looks back at you in the eyes. I think I can manage.
He kind of straightens out your suit and says, good man. And he turns and faces the door.
Let's do this.
As you guys sort of knock on the door, Miles will open it up. Reginald said you guys would likely make your way over. We were just about to get started. This is Keikoa, our leading Wu translator, who will be providing his services as we commence. You'll see the individual in the corner give a nod as Miles continues. We can have a couple of you come in and assist with asking questions, but the rest of you will need a view from outside. I will warn you that the methods we are about to use are not typical of anything you have ever seen before. It might not be advised to witness if you're not versed with the occult.
You see, Archibald, he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a little bottle of holy water he got at like the very beginning of this game. Says, I think I can handle it. Puts the holy water back, gives him a wink.
Miles, if you wouldn't mind, could you just give us a second to determine who will be here in the room?
Oh, by all means. There's no rush.
What's the vibe in this room? Can I do a vibe check? Is it like pretty sanitary, like medical, or like is it like grungy?
Oh no, it's very well lit, like we kind of already established. Aside from the metal table and chair that the cultist is sitting in, there's nothing else in the room. It's literally just a square box.
Okay, well, I will. To be honest, I think I do have effective skills in getting information out of people due to my professional history. However, I don't know if I would be the one to act correctly under this amount of pressure. So, I will stand out if anybody else wants to step in. I will watch from behind the glass. Oh, go ahead.
Can Archibald have a reaction real quick?
Yeah.
Archibald, like for a moment, like he's trying to act all tough, but for a moment he kind of slips into his mind for a second, and you see that blank stare come out of his eyes as he like shivers and says, "Good man, Gillis, you're the right man for the job." And he pushes you forward and then leaves the room.
Oh, so you're Uno reversing me right now?
He 100% is. His sanity is not that great, man.
Yeah,
That's
true.
I look nervously over towards Violet. Violet, how well do you think you can fare as Archibald leaves? You get the sense that Gillis will stay if you don't want to, but is also okay with very much looking through the glass from above.
So Violet's slowly walking out of the room with her notebook, looks at you and be like, "Can't stay. I gotta be able to take notes of this."
No, Violet, no. I nervously look over to Dr. Savage, who's the only other party member in the room, and you're just straight chilling.
Yeah, he's still puffing on his joint, kind of just getting the vibe of the room. Yeah, I guess if the other two don't want to interrogate, I'll gladly go. As for, I guess I'll play the strong arm.
Well, okay. You see Gillis sort of like nervously adjust his tie and subsequently his monocle as he looks over to you. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's best that a doctor of the body and a doctor of the mind work together.
Yeah, as he rummages through his sack and takes out the bottle of chloroform and a rack, I'm ready.
Remember, they can't talk if you do that, but that might be good in an emergency situation.
It's only intimidation.
To clarify where everybody's at, Archibald, are you going up top to look in, or are you just standing outside the closed door?
No, he'll go up top to look in, but he does not want to be inside that room.
Okay. So Archibald and Violet, you have made your way back up where you can see down. Gillis.
Can they hear into the room? Oh, okay.
So they can see what happens, but they won't be able to hear because it's soundproof.
Gotcha.
Miles kind of taking, after the door closes behind Violet, that this is what we're working with. You'll see him pick up the first bottle, which appears to be a thick white liquid. Think like viscosity is close to like Pepto-Bismol as far as like consistency.
Oh, okay. So it's like almost like glue.
Sort of, yeah.
Not quite as thick. Yeah.
You'll see Keikoa come over, and he will hold the cultist's head with his mouth open as Miles pours the first liquid in. You'll see the cultists begin to convulse, writhing around as much as their bonds will allow as they begin to scream. For those in your room, this is kind of like an awkward scream because they didn't have a tongue, so it's kind of like
tongue.
If you remember in The Mummy where he's like kind of like yelling, it's "Roar!" and it like gets louder, and the tone shifts.
Oh.
For those interested that are paying astute attention, please give me a spot hidden roll.
Okay, I definitely am in the zone here, despite my nerves. I will attempt. I have to roll lower than a 40 though.
Would that include Violet and myself?
Only if you're choosing to focus. This is where you as a like your character, would your character be looking to see what's going on with this individual? If so, go ahead and roll a spot hidden.
Ah, I failed.
Oh,
with
I failed.
87.
72.
Perfect. Was that
Come
fails
on,
for everybody?
come
to
on,
roll?
Dr. Savage.
So you roll a percentage die, right?
Yes, but you have to roll lower.
Than the score you have in that box.
Yeah, and the lower the like the first tier is regular, second tier hard, first tier extreme or whatever hard. I don't remember
hard.
what the third tier was.
Regular, hard, extreme, and then if you roll a 0-1, that's a crit success.
Right.
Let's see. I rolled a 52, so that's a 40. So I guess I
Oh
failed.
no way, Violet! Did you roll?
We'll circle
listen.
back if she.
Okay,
she taps
okay.
It, but none of you notice it as it's happening, but it's kind of like for those in the room, the screaming is kind of like disconcerting because it starts as like that mumble, and then it sounds like an actual man yelling. Like no issues at all as far as like it being discernible as a yell.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Dr. Savage, you specifically being a medical professional know that this is really weird because without a tongue, this type of tone shouldn't be coming. So you eventually are able to kind of like overcome like the yell itself. And when you look, the cultist now has a tongue again.
I was about to say, did he grow
What?
a tongue back? That Dr. Savage keyed in on that very astutely. He said the only way that'd be possible is either magic or he had a tongue grow back, and he's like, his tongue is back.
Are there enough chairs on our side of the table to accommodate both me and Dr. Savage?
Yeah, we'll say there's two.
Okay, well, I'll be standing then.
Oh, if you choose to. Cool. Miles will look at you guys. All right. They should be able to speak clearly for us now. Reginald has informed us that we may be operating on a clock, so instead of the usual methods, we're going to speed up the process a bit with this mixture as he grabs the second liquid and starts kind of stirring it around. As he kind of swirls the bottle, you can see that this only has a couple of drops and is a milky white complexion.
How different is it from the first one?
Viscosity-wise, this looks like it moves as easy as water.
Okay.
These couple drops should give you about an hour of compliance, but it takes us about 5 years to get the amount you see here, so only the one go. You can continue to squeeze him after you are done, but that will obviously take some time, especially since he seems to be fit the zealot description. At this point, Kekoa will pull the cultist back again, opening his mouth as Miles will pour in this liquid. Once again, you'll see the cultist sort of convulse uncontrollably as his eyes roll back in his head. Eventually he calms and takes on a sort of like stupor-like state and slumps in the chair.
Okay.
For Gilus and Dr. Savage, this is a very unsettling sort of like vibe because the eyes are still rolled back, giving him some sort of like zombie-like appearance.
Can I, with my background, be able to determine like the state of mind that this guy is in, despite like the way he looks?
The closest indication you get is that he's coherent, but you're not exactly sure what's going on. Like, it kind of gives you the same vibe of like the glassy-eyed appearance you got from Archibald,
Yeah.
like just before he left.
Okay.
You're not sure how exactly this works, but general vibe.
I'll, from my standing position, put my hand onto Savage's shoulder. I think you should get this started, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'll let you lead from this point. You have about an hour before the effects wear off. You'll need to be very direct in your line of questioning. Athenia will force them to tell the truth, but that does not mean they cannot sidestep a question. Do your best to keep it to yes or no questions, if possible. Less chance of them misleading you
Right.
in that case.
Okay. Yes or no questions. You know, Dr. Gillis, I think you were more close to the research than I was in this particular case. I think you should begin the question.
You right when you say that, dude, like, Gillis has been trying to maintain a certain level of presentation in this room. You get the immediate idea that I am nervous to be the one to start it off, but logically, you make sense as I like subconsciously nod my head in agreement. Right. And I'll adjust my monocle. Cultist, was it at the church you were worshipping some sort of jinn?
We do not worship the Jinn. We worship the one they serve.
I nervously look up towards the ceiling to my companions that are up above, and it's in this moment that I wish Violet was here, but because she's very much more attuned with the occult.
Yeah, as you look up at the window, Archibald just goes,
You just see Gillis roll his fucking eyes, and I look back down.
Oh, and to describe how he answers is like, he looks at you, but it's just white as he responds, and it's like the most monotone voice you've ever experienced.
Is his posture still slump? Or
It's like
is he
the kind of
upright?
like, it's kind of like they're sort of there, and it was kind of like this to turn towards you.
I see. Okay. I understand.
So it's like minimal amount of movements. Like whatever movements required is exactly what's happening. There's nothing more.
Okay. Gillis will start to think to himself. He is definitely not familiar with the occult. At least as far as compared to everyone else on the team. I have not done that much research either. Okay, my next question for you, cultist. Are you affiliated with the Jinn? Do your goals align?
We wish to bring back all Amar. If that is the desire of the Jinn, then yes.
You'll see Gillis get a puzzled look on his face.
And I guess to also clarify, you're not hearing this in English from the cultist. As he's responding, it's in a language you don't understand, and then Keikoa in the corner is translating it.
Right,
So it's
I
kind of
forgot that was an element here.
behind you, you're hearing what he's actually saying, but the person in front of you is the one saying the words you understand.
I understand. Okay. That was something I forgot, but that does sort of like change. Does he sound like he's speaking in tongues? Or is it more something else?
How could he? He just got it back. But
Oh my god. Get out of here.
This is gonna show that I don't know shit about linguistics.
That's fine. I barely know anything either.
U is an ancient language, so I'm gonna say it sounds similar to Egyptian, but since I don't know what Egyptian sounds like, I can't give you anything more than that.
Okay, okay. So it doesn't necessarily sound like gibberish per se.
You can tell that it's a cohesive sentence.
Consistent.
You just don't understand shit. It'd be like if you showed up to, I don't know how much Spanish you know, but like, you showed up to someone speaking Spanish, like, it's very clear that they know exactly what they're saying and it has clear intent. You just don't know the words.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if anything, like, if there was any inkling of you picking up on it, you should be able to, because the cadence they're speaking in is very slow and deliberate. So, like, there isn't any issue of, like, misinterpreting what they're saying.
Gotcha. Okay, I will sort of bravely take a handful of steps towards the bound cultist, and I want to get a good intimate look of this specimen here. I don't necessarily want to be within any amount of range that the binds will allow to be touched in any way. I just want to approach, and looking in the eyes that are rolled back, the human element here in the conversation is slightly removed. So I will say, in more of an attempt to get to know what this particular individual might know, I'll just lean onto the table. And what is it that this group that you are part of call themselves? I know it's not quite yes or no, but
I don't know if we've ever defined ourselves past the followers of all Omar.
I stand up, and you, Dr. Savage, you will notice, maybe because of your combat background, you'll notice that the gas is starting to leave my engine here, and I may need a step in to gather my thoughts. And I'll just like look over to Savage and kind of like a little puzzled.
Are the Jin's plans complete, or is this just the beginning?
We do not know the Jin's plan specifically. We wish to bring back the rest of the Jin to summon Alamar. What the Jin do is of their own devices.
What other locations are there?
Locations for what?
Jinns.
We are currently searching for the other locations of the Jin. We tracked one to Mary and Alan. Right before we killed him, we learned that it had been released in Ross's quarters.
Oh fuck.
The one that we were the closest to tracking down after that is the one that we confronted you with.
What were the other likely locations being searched?
Our last lead was tied to Archie the Boss Bonato.
Oh?
We knew
Oh?
that he had ordered Edwin Allen to
Yes.
locate the Jin. We were going to confront him to find out the other locations.
How large of a cult following do you have? How many members?
There's roughly a couple thousand on the island. There's currently 4 teams in New York.
4 teams in New York? Is that what you
Did
said?
he-
4 teams?
Yeah,
Okay.
4 teams. Okay.
Are these teams different missions of the cult? Are they all? Is what they're searching different from the other team?
We were all searching for the same thing, each following different
Okay.
leads.
How do you identify each other with a large group? There must be
There you
some
go.
kind of
There you go.
password or marking.
He will look down at his arms and chest, which you guys can clearly see. There's all kinds of moo markings across their body.
What marking?
Like there's tattoos, like with like you, sort of like
Oh.
lineage. So like
Oh,
you guys
okay.
were fairly confident that these guys were tied to the Mew language when you encountered them last session. They
Gotcha.
like it's pretty clear if you saw them in like broad daylight who they are.
Yeah. So if the tattoos are their membership IDs, basically.
I see.
Okay.
Like it's a very tribal sort of like cultural group.
Sure, but I mean, that's something that's not easily hid, especially in the time period. Makeup's not that advanced, so
I mean,
it would have
to
to
be
be
honest,
clothing.
with 1920s, even their skin tone is a dead giveaway that they don't belong.
Right. Yeah.
Why their skin tone?
They're like Pacific Islanders, sort of like.
Oh, so
type.
they're like
Yeah.
caramel, kind of dark
Yeah.
chestnut.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I'm still
Yeah.
getting caught up on the info.
Well, that's specific to this cultist and the translator.
Oh,
I described it earlier, but I don't blame you for missing it.
yeah.
It wasn't
Okay,
super
so
relevant till now.
It's not guaranteed that there's others of this nationality in the cult, but it's also it could be a likely
Possible.
thing.
Yeah,
Give either of you, if you would like, give me a history roll.
Let me check my history. My history is not bad, but I'm gonna have to roll pretty low.
I'll roll. Why not? Give it a shot.
41. I needed to roll 30 or lower.
Mine doesn't have a score in it, so what do I roll?
There
It says
should
next
be-
to it 5%, so I guess
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah. If you don't have any points.
Jesus.
Oh, good luck, dude. It's
Okay.
possible, but
Oh
good luck.
God. All right, yeah. I'll fucking try.
Might as well.
Oh my God, a 3.
No fucking way, dude. Are you serious? Holy shit. What are the odds? At least 1 in 100.
3%. Okay. Dr. Savage, as you're kind of like looking over and sort of contemplating this, they kept mentioning you, and it didn't click till this moment that you read. It's super obscure. There was like a ship that had like been searching for this lost island, and now it's finally kind of like coalesced in your memory that there's a island that's talked about that's sunk in the sea, similar to like the Atlantis myth, which is why it's not like
I was about to say
something you
Atlantis.
normally track, but it's the island of Mu, and that's MU for those that care. That was known for like occult sort of stuff. Like they were really into like calling on like the dark forces and like other creatures to like coalesce power. And
Okay.
the prevailing theory is that's why the island sunk, but the people that originated from that island still believe in those sort of things.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy's from that island, or at least
And
this-
is it basically like Mormonism to Utah with this stuff to Mew?
Sorry, what?
I
Sorry, I don't know where we're going. So
like as far as like the amount of worship and like cultural identity was this island as far as like all this occult stuff goes elsewhere
I mean,
anywhere in the
like,
world.
FDL Like Mormons, maybe, where it's like
Oh, okay.
super, like I'm talking like super zealot, sort of like.
Like the
Gotcha.
like an oligarchy kind of, like a very religious state.
Yeah, very very religious state where it's like the people that were like the most devout had the most power. Is like
I
the
see.
main-
Yeah, so
Okay.
exactly an oligarchy.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. All right, sorry.
Okay.
yeah. I was like, I don't want to like. Mormons seem to be okay to me unless you go down like the super like John Smith
Oh, no,
stuff. But,
I wasn't trying to say that Mormon was bad. I was just trying to say like
but these
Mormonism
guys are bad.
in Utah is like the center, the heart of it all.
Yes, their core identity associated to being Mew and
Okay,
worshiping
cool.
all
That's all.
Amar.
I just hate that I did it the way that I did it. Sorry.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of questions to ask because it's like he's an
And-
in man, but he's not a very high up man.
Well, and also you haven't been involved over the last
Yeah,
12
like John
sessions of
doesn't
what's happening.
really know much of what's going on or what to ask.
Meta-wise, you guys can switch out to ask questions if you feel so inclined. You have about an hour of time, and we've only really killed the first like 5-10 minutes of questions.
Okay, I will say this then. Before taking my official exit, I will.
Because you can even step out, ask what questions they want answered, and then come back in.
While Dr. Gillis is doing that, John will step out and ask if there's any questions. Have a piece of paper ready.
Well, to be honest, I might take my exit with you, because I sincerely believe Violet and Archibald might have a better
Yeah.
crack at
Yeah.
what we took.
Yeah, he's gonna exit too and give them the floor because this is definitely not his expertise yet. He needs more time to really look at the notes.
Yeah, so I'll go up there with Dr. Savage and be like, hello. So, and I'll kind of give them the update of like everything that's been said that they technically haven't heard. All the stuff about the Mew and like how their overall goal is to like summon Olimar, who is like over everything, including the Jinn. And then how they want to summon the Jinns, but like what the Jinns do is like beneath their understanding. And
As
then
a quick
I'll
meta reminder,
go ahead.
Al Amar is the Arabic word for Satan.
Oh fuck. Okay.
So they're trying to summon the big bad, basically.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that clarifier, because
So
that does
the
kind of
Jinn
change.
are effectively like fallen angels that aligned with Satan as far as like the Quran is concerned.
I understand. So I'll give them that little bit of an update, and I'm not saying I couldn't provide more help to this interrogation, but Violet, with your understanding of the occult, and Archibald, your ability to ask the questions that need to be asked, we might have a chance to get a little bit more information out of this guy.
Right. Well, I think you did a good job, Gillis. What questions do you want me to ask?
Well, that's the thing. I was hoping you could kind of come up with that, because that's the whole reason why I stepped out. I'm all out, but we just started with this guy. There's got to be more. We maybe ask more questions about what their intentions would be when they located the Jinn. Like, what would their process be like, potentially, of summoning them? I don't know. Maybe asked about important cultist figures within their ranks. Maybe there are messiahs of some kind. I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss, to be honest.
Well, I guess I'll do my best. Violet, you in for this?
She sighs, puts down her notebook. Lexi goes, I mean, I guess I'm still bringing my notebook and will still take notes. But yeah, let's go.
He kind of straightens out his tie as he turns and marches very comically towards the door.
I'll give you a very compassionate pat on the shoulder as you leave.
As you walk in, Archibald and Violet, you'll see sort of the cultists do the awkward sort of like turn with like rolled back eyes to the door
Jesus.
and like follow you as you make your way out to wherever you're going to stand as you proceed with your questions.
Archibald walks up there with Violet and he looks at Violet and gives her a nod. Looks up at Gilus through the window and kind of like gives him a thumbs up.
Dude, I literally put thumbs up before you said it. We're on the same wavelength, man.
And then he reaches into his jacket pocket and dangles the pocket watch in front of him and says, "Do you know what this is?"
I assume a device for telling time.
I think he said time, but it just cut out. Archibald?
Oh, I wasn't sure if Don was still talking or not.
Oh no, he said a device. I assume a device for telling time.
Yes. Very good. So you are intelligent, and he puts the pocket watch back into his pocket. So, tell me, you can't be the only one. Are there higher ranks in your authority?
Depending on how long you've been a member and how devout you are to following Olimar, depends on your standing within the order. Being sent on a mission like this means that you are of at least a higher tier than most.
Okay. That's good to know.
Now, you see, you go and find another one of these shins. What is that process like? What do you do to it?
It depends on what state it's in. If it has already been released, our mission is already completed. If it has not, we take the sarcophagus back to the elders so that they may perform the ritual.
What kind of ritual are we talking about, Sonny?
The ritual to summon the Jinn to this plane of existence.
Well, I figured that much, but I mean, what does this ritual consist of? He kind of looks at Violet. God, I swear he's dumb.
That is not for me to know. That is knowledge held by the elders. My mission is to find the Jinn and take it to the elders.
Can you tell me more about these elders?
They are those of the most devout of Olimar and have been gifted with knowledge of his spells and magic.
Oh shit, they're big. Okay.
How does one become an elder?
By proving oneself as a follower of Olimar.
How many Jinn have been found already?
As I told the other interrogators, we killed Marianne Allen following learning that the Jinn at Ross's quarters had been released, and we had tracked down the one that you guys located at the church.
You say if it hasn't been released, you take it to your elders, correct?
Yes.
What happens to the Jinn if it's released?
It does what it wishes.
How would one, say, banish, destroy, kill the Jinn before it can be released?
That is not part of what we do.
But surely you
Fair.
must know.
Even if it was something that we did, the elders would be the only ones to know how to do that.
Where do I find an elder?
On the island of Neil.
Oh shit. That's Saint though.
How many more Jinn do you know the locations of, or do you not know the locations of the others?
We do not currently know, but we know Archie the Boss Benato had all of them in his possession at one time.
Yeah, he diffed them all out.
Okay. Still thinking on questions he should ask next. He kind of looks at Violet and like steps to the side and gestures forward to the dude. Do you have anything?
You said
Violet's
that
gonna completely not notice it because she's too into her notebook, making sure she doesn't miss anything.
Sighs, steps back and looks at the dude. Archibald is going to take a glance up at the window at both Gillis and Dr. Savage and just kind of like look at them, hoping he's going to
I'll raise up a finger, and I will make for the stairs and go to the door, but not enter the room, of course.
excuse me for 5 seconds. I just yeah, and he turns and walks to the door.
it's your time, boy. You do what you need, but I see you got probably about 15-20 minutes left max.
Oh shit. Okay.
I only need 10 seconds, and he sprints to the door, opens it, and like sticks his face out at Gillis, like, "Come on, give me something good."
All right. And we do the whole thing like attaching each other up really, really quick. Okay. All right. He said that that the elders to be found on the island of Mew. That fucking Saint, at least as far as what we've been told. So,
Where
it
is
might
it?
behoove you to get some information. Sorry, Evan, just give me 1 second. It might behoove you to get some information about what the fuck that's all about, and in addition, potentially where it could be found, and at the very least, what ocean it can be found in. And I'll sort of step aside as Savage kind of comes up from behind.
No, you pretty much got it.
Oh, well, shit. Okay.
Yeah, technically Dr. Savage was the only one that knew that you sank, and he didn't share it with anybody else that I'm aware of. But
Sorry.
you're good.
Oh, he would
I
100%
assumed
have. Yeah, he would have shared that. Yeah.
Yeah, I assumed it was part of the sort of catch-up when we initially...
Yeah, I should have mentioned. Yeah, no,
But,
he would have 100% shared.
That was wrong of me, though, on a meta level. I don't know. Honestly, that's about it. And I don't know necessarily what questions to ask, but if Violet could procure some sort of element of the occult, that might help as well. But honestly, I don't know. You're doing great, and I give you a thumbs up as I slowly back up to safety.
Yeah, I'm feeling much better about this situation. Thank you. And he closes the door and then scurries back. Like he does it almost as it like when he gets back to the desk, he kind of like slides into view like, you know, Kramer would in Seinfeld. So, what about the island of Mew? What? One, what name is that? And two, what makes that place so, you know, special? You see, it's like Tell me more about it.
What is the name? The name is the
Yeah, we
culture
can start there.
that we reside from. We are the people of Mu, hence the island of Mu.
Okay, I should have put 2 and 2 together. What makes it so special?
It has been blessed by all Omar.
That's it? Okay. Where would one find this island? And what ocean is in it? Is this like an actual island or is it metaphorical?
The only ones that are able to find the island of Mu are those that have dedicated themselves to the beliefs of Mu.
Oh shit.
Oh, wouldn't that be you?
Yes, I can find the island of Mu.
Can you draw me a roadmap?
No.
It was worth asking.
Can you tell me what ocean it's in?
No.
Is that what's in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle?
Oh shit! Fucking good question, bro.
No.
Even if it was, would you tell me?
Those that follow the beliefs of Mu are the only ones that can find it.
At this point, like Archibald, like sighs
Even
and
if
shrugs.
you are
and-
with someone that knows where it is, you will not be able to find it.
Archibald sighs and like kind of shrugs his shoulders and turns to Violet and like grabs her by the shoulders and pushes her forward and whispers in her ear, "You know occult shit? Pull some magic at your ass."
Come on, Violet, you got this.
She's gonna give the biggest sigh you have ever heard and the biggest eye roll as she then shuts her notebook, puts it down, looks at the guy, and says, "Is there any way you can show someone else on where we need to go?"
The only way to find the island of Mu is to dedicate oneself fully to the beliefs of Mu. The portal to it would then open.
Portal?
And what does one have to do to get to that state?
The head will turn and sort of like cock its head at you. You would have to read all of the beliefs of Mu in their entirety and complete the ritual dedicating oneself to all Omar.
Violet, it's a good thing you like to read.
Shut up, dude. This is not something she should do. You're on a roll, though. Violet, keep going. You're on a roll.
How long would it take to read all of it?
The testaments of Olimar have 7 of them. Each comprises of about 10,000 words each, written in the language of Mu.
How long would the ritual at the end take?
The ritual is conducted at midnight, depending on the willpower of the individuals casting it. It can take anywhere between 1 to 2 hours.
Ooh, Dr. Savage would bang on the door.
We don't know this, though. We don't know this. We don't know yet.
I know, but oh man, that leads such a good question to ask.
Would that? Would I be able to hear Dr. Savage banging on the door?
Well, no, he probably wouldn't because he doesn't know what y'all just
I was
found
gonna
out.
say, if Dr. Savage is actually banging on the door, yes. I think what we're
But
running
if
into is
he
Dr. Savage
heard-
is banging on the door based off of information he didn't hear.
Yeah. If he,
Okay,
if he
that-
can't
that-
hear that, then he's not banging on the door.
Trust me, Evan. I'm literally fucking pooping my pants right now
I
because
know.
I also
There's
have
such a
questions.
good question you could ask for that.
Archibald looks up at the both of them, shrugs.
And I just did like yes. I don't know. I just did an encouraging
Yeah. just
gesture.
Keep going.
Archibald's gonna lean into Violet's ear and whisper, "Ask about the language."
Violet's gonna roll her eyes again because that was gonna be her next question, anyways. She was gonna ask, is there a way or like a book that we could get that translate from you to English?
No.
Oh.
But it appears the man in the corner there is able to speak the language.
Yeah. True.
Fuck, I forgot about that part.
That was not going to be my question though, because I felt like that was already a thing.
All right, yeah, we get it. You're smart. You remember things. All right.
I have a different question. I wish we could ask so fucking bad. That would help us so much. How much time is left? Can Dr. Savage get some info from them? I want to ask this
Like I
question.
said,
He said 50 minutes.
yeah, whenever they started this line of questioning, they had about 15 minutes. So I'd say you'd have like 5 to 10 minutes left.
Okay, he's gonna go to
And-
the
and to be
door
honest,
and he
you
wants
guys
to
have-
get some answers.
More time to question. That's the rough time that this like
Yeah,
Serum will last.
alliance
yeah, but we get better
spell
answers
stuff.
while the serum's active. So John is gonna go to the door. He wants to know what more info they found out.
Yeah, so you guys will hear a knock on the door.
I will stay upstairs, peering down.
Archibald puts his hands on Violet's shoulder and says, "You got this," and quickly like spins off of her and heads to the door and opens it, sticks his face out again.
What have you found out?
He relays Yeah, he relays all the information to you.
Oh, important question. You need to ask: is there any visual or colorful signs that the ritual is being completed? Because if we can find it being done, then we can go through the portal.
Oh,
We don't have to read these books. We can let others do the work for us. We just have to be there when it happens.
That's a good question, Sonny.
Yeah.
Anything
so
else
if there's
you
like
see?
a beam of light in the sky, or if there's any like bright, colorful lights that happen, we need to know. That way we can figure out where it is.
Is there anything else you want me to ask? We're kind of on a time
No,
crunch.
that's it. That's it. Go.
Archibald slams the door, comes running back to the desk, puts his hands on the desk, and leans into this guy and says, "Are there any signs, like visual cues, or a beacon of light, some angels descending from the heavens, sustaining one long note that indicates that this ritual is being completed and the portal is being opened?"
When the portal is opened, the pressure within the surrounding area will drop. But as far as any outward indicator,
You're cutting out what?
when the ritual is conducted, the pressure in the surrounding area will drop, resulting in a reduction in temperature. Only those.
I remember
It gets
this.
colder. It gets colder.
Yes, I remember that at Ross's Corner, right? Wasn't that a thing? Or no, that was way before. That was well after the fact. Never
different,
mind.
but yes. Only those within a close proximity will see the portal open.
Well, sure.
That's it. There's no like light in the sky that says portal right here.
Why would there be a beacon to something that only true believers should see?
Does it smell different?
No.
Does it sound different?
No.
What
You
color
sound
is
like
it?
that. I just gotta say, you sound like that one meme. His head was chopped off. His limbs were chopped off. the very like grimy voice.
The portal shows the opening to the island of Mu. specifically the summoning circle on the other side.
When is the next portal going to be opened?
The portal opens whenever someone uses the ritual to create it.
Right.
Well, yes,
Good
but who's
question, though.
scheduled next? Who's on the books?
There are no scheduled rituals. It is only whenever it is needed.
Well, that's all I got. Turns and looks at Violet. More, please.
She's rolling her eyes some more. It's just, I looks at Archibald and be like, I got nothing else right now.
I don't blame you, Alyssa. This is a tough spot. I would be surprised if you could come up with anything else.
Shit.
I mean, I can always think of more BS questions that might
Yeah.
be nice, but
As you guys are mulling it over, trying to come up with other questions, you'll see the cultist start to convulse again
Yep.
in
Time
the
is
chair as the eyes roll back.
Oh shit.
Archibald is hiding behind Violet.
Okay.
The cultist sort of, there's like beaded with sweat over the exertions the body has taken over the last couple potions applied to it. Will kind of like glare at the room, but does not speak again.
Before any more sort of conversation goes on, Gilus will, because of this visual cue, will enter the room, the interrogation room,
Yeah.
and I will go to Miles, and I will ask, is this individual going to be held in our sort of captivity, or are we going to let this guy go?
Well, at a minimum, we're gonna, continue sort of doing our thing to get as much out of him as possible.
We can't let him go, though, right?
I doubt we will. Best case scenario for him is we use him to help with translating, but getting him to a level where he's compliant to go through and work with the new language might take some time.
Right.
Dr. Savage will come in with his bag, his medical bag, and just start laying out scalpels, pliers, and other like surgical devices. I'm ready to continue. Clink, clink.
You're more than welcome to. I guess the question is based off of how the interrogation went. Are you actually ready to continue right now, or do you need some time to actually figure out what it is you want to know? Because it seemed to me like you guys had a decent amount of questions you were ready to ask, but most of it was on the fly and not necessarily getting you where you needed to go.
As he starts to put his stuff back up, I guess we could come back at a later time.
I will look over to Savage and just sort of like give a nod of agreement. Yes, maybe we should come back once we've had a chance to discuss, or at least brainstorm what could be more valuable information.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere, but I will say that's probably the only little bit of Athenia that we're going to apply to him at the moment. Like I said, it's a long process for that.
Well, that's fine. We have other ways of getting people to talk.
I don't disagree. It just depends
I like
on
this
how
guy.
much time you're willing to commit.
Well, let's see. Fingernails take about 2 months to grow back,
Right.
so we have time.
Well,
Depends on how much he's willing to talk moving forward. Like I said,
Miles. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
he He's got the vibe of those type of people that will go to his grave keeping his cult secrets.
Well, Miles, I commend your work. Clearly, you run a tight ship in interrogations here, so I appreciate that. Just give us some time. I think we just need to discuss and debrief.
Of course.
Gilus will be the first to leave. He, like, those who are paying close attention will notice, like, once he exits the room, this sort of the situation, the scenario is now over, and you can see him sort of like exhale deeply, and I guess there's like common areas, right, that we can just go chill at or whatever.
Remember, the facility has at a minimum a library and cafeteria. There's like a recreation area, sort of like to recoup. There's dormitories. So like you guys kind of have like a pick of like how you would like to go group up. Since you guys had about an hour interrogation, you met with Reginald about 11. This would put it, we'd say the conversation with Reginald probably ran for about an hour. So it's probably about 1 p.m. in the afternoon at the moment.
Oh, well, maybe, and I'll turn back to the rest of the group.
For those who want more out of every moment,
maybe we should get some lunch. I am feeling a little pepped. To be honest, I'm also a really big fan of the tuna salad sandwiches that they have here in the cafeteria.
Yeah, you know what they say. You gotta eat it before it eats you.
I've never said that, but that is very clever. So yeah, if anyone else has any other ideas, I guess we could go to the cafeteria for some lunch. Talk things over.
Sure, why not? Dr. Savage could eat.
The
I like to
cafeteria.
think that you refer to yourself in the third person.
Oh my God, shut up.
God, no, he's not that pretentious or something like that.
Self-absorbed at the very least.
Oh yeah, narcissistic something.
The cafeteria is fairly packed at this point in time, so like it's not the worst, but like it kind of like has like a steady sort of like conversational ambience to it. Tuna salad is one of the ones that they have as a reoccurring meal. Sandwiches, but you like as you guys have like spent more time here at PICA, you kind of like got the vibe, or at least for those of you that have been part of the group for a little bit longer, that lunchtime they have like very common meals that you can kind of like pick from, whereas it seems like breakfast and dinner is where like they'll do like a special meal each night, so that it, like,
oh, I see.
There's more variety on the breakfast and dinner side. So it's kind of like lighter fare for lunch typically, so sandwiches,
Gotcha.
soups, salads, sort of thing. So specifically
Soups.
today, they've got a tuna salad. There's a club with a honey ham and smoked turkey as far as like comprising it with a cheddar. There is a, since we're in like the fall time frame, there's a pumpkin soup as well as a potato soup. And then as far as like salads, they have like a generic sort of like Caesar salad that you can kind of like pick from. And then as far as like beverages, sort of like standard fare, you've got a handful of like
Cola?
juice. Yeah, you have a handful of juices and like a couple soft drinks. I feel like
I think that's a thing in the 20s, isn't it?
I feel like it existed by then, but
Maybe.
1886 is when Coke first came out.
yeah.
Okay, so Coke is it's.
As far as like the soft
Yeah,
drinks
and it's
themselves,
the good Coke. It's got cocaine in it.
as far as like soft drinks themselves, I don't think there's a whole lot of variety. I think there's only like a handful, Coke being the primary one.
Of course, I'll be getting one of those puppies for sure. In addition to my tuna salad, I will grab a potato soup.
So they would have had Coke, Pepsi, and 7-Up would have been very
Oh,
common. They also
7
had other
Up.
different soft
No
drinks like
fucking
Orange
way.
Crush, Cherry Smash.
Okay, so we got some fruity options. Got some colas.
OG.
I'll still stick with the Coke.
Get some caffeine.
Yeah, caffeine.
Cocoina.
I'm curious, not that it's super important, but like, what does Savage get for lunch? Because you're a big boy, right? You know?
Yeah, he definitely intakes a more lean and kind of meal. He goes more for the protein with sides of veggies, low carb.
Sure. Wow.
He'll have a Coke too.
Damn right.
So,
Damn right.
Once we've sort of like sat down and whatnot, real quick question on a like staff sort of like level, how like are there like employees of PICA all around, like all at the same time? Like, there's like how many people are here at once? You know what I mean?
I would say for this facility, there's probably like 20 or 30 regulars on a day-to-day.
Okay.
You think of like people like Lorna that like live at the facility and operate out of there.
I see. Okay.
The ones that you know for sure live and work out of the building are Reginald and Lorna. You get the vibe that the interrogator Miles you just met probably does that as well. And there might be a couple other ones just based off of their shifts. There's other folks that you know get sent out on like missions, but in between missions, and this is over like the I think 6 months that you've been a part of the organization Gilus. That like you've seen them at the facility, and then there will be periods of you not seeing them, and then they'll come back afterwards.
Gotcha.
So it seems like if they're not on missions, there's some folks that will be here pretty regularly during the day doing like research and stuff. And this is primarily, and this is where like the 20 to 30 folks come in, individuals like Lorna, that they work full time for PICA and that's their livelihood. And then there's other people like you that your livelihood is outside of the organization and you come in as like a part-timer sort of thing. So like overall the organization's like 100, 200 people, but there's about 20 or 30 that are like full-time at the facility.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's probably not a bunch of people in the cafeteria right now?
And especially like for this time period, like it's a lot of people in one location for like the 1920s. But like for the size of organization you guys are, it's what, a fifth of like the overall group.
Okay, not that not that I'm trying to keep this conversation secret. I was just trying to get an idea of the amount of bodies. But I'll just sort of, as I'll take a spoonful of my soup and realize it's too hot and burn my tongue. And as I'm sort of like soothing myself. Okay, so, as far as getting to this island of Mew, I don't think that's anything that we should fuck with, like, at all. However, it might behoove us to figure out, well, I was just about to say to figure out who the elders are, but they're only on the island of themselves, so... Honestly, I don't know what more to learn from this individual. I feel like we kind of went in not knowing a lot. We went out knowing a little bit more, but still knowing not a lot. Does anyone else feel like they could have thought of anything else to ask?
The knowledge we have, I don't believe so, but... feel like we've learned a good deal. We need to get to this island of Mew if we're going to stop anything. And also, it doesn't seem like they really care what the Djinns do once they're here.
No.
So stopping the Djinns is important, but it's also not the most... Doesn't seem like it's the priority either. Feels like if we stop the cultists, then we can stop the Djinns fully.
I don't need to be the first one to say it, but even from my studies at Harvard in history, that does not seem to be the case. Any amount of squandering of any sort of religious belief, I don't know if you can completely stamp something out. So, fighting back these cultists would be a good short-term solution, but long-term, maybe not so much.
Well, sure, but I feel like the more pressing matter is stopping more Djinns from coming than stopping the current ones that are here.
Yes.
And also
Yes.
thwarting any current plans to summon this demon.
Yeah, Allah Akbar or whatever they said it was.
I didn't
Yeah.
know you speak Mew.
Lorna will pipe up. Well, if we have all of the sarcophagi, doesn't that meet the same purpose as stopping the cultists? If they're all here at the facility, the cultists don't have access to them either.
And remind me, was it Luciano or Bonato who had his hands on the sarcophagi?
Luciano worked for Bonato and was gifted the sarcophagi, if I have it right.
I will look over to Savage, because don't you also have a connection to Bonato, or is that just Carmela?
He works for Luciano, which is also who
Oh.
Carmela works
He's
for.
connected to
Oh, my
Carmela.
bad.
He helps out the mafias do surgery, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's told you that. He's got some shady business he does.
Okay, my bad. So I will redact a little bit and instead say, well, the only thing that's actionable that I think we got from that interrogation was Bonato. And that wasn't necessarily new information. We've known that Bonato originally handed out the sarcophagi, but we have not actually spoken to him. So maybe with Carmela's connection to Luciano, we can put up some sort of meeting with Bonato and get a better idea of where these sarcophagi went so we can get ahead of the Djinn situation.
Well, don't we have all the sarcophagi here? Or
No.
what did Lorelai just say? What did we have that they didn't?
What Lorna,
Lorna
Julia's
said.
character filling in, what she said is that if you guys were able to track down the sarcophagi, which is what the Djinn were stored in,
Oh.
and bring them to the facility, wouldn't that serve the same purpose of taking out the cultists?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that would be the way we should probably do it, but we still should probably cut some kind of stop to these elders in Mew, because they're not going to wait. And I mean, it'll be some kind of war or something for them to get these sarcophagi back.
Okay, so I have a very limited understanding of the occult. Not much is violent per se. However, I have a feeling that stopping the Djinns from coming to this existence doesn't necessarily stop the summoning of sin itself. I'm not saying that the Djinn aren't a high priority, but I don't think dealing with the Djinn also deals with Malamar, Sorry, that's a Pokemon. What's Alamar? Sorry, my bad. My bad.
I thought they needed all the Jins summoned to get.
Is that what it
Alumar.
was? I'm sorry.
So if we do
Yeah.
stop them from summoning the Jins, then that would stop
Okay. Well,
Alumar.
I will back that up just a little bit then. So, I mean, I'll just sort of go around the bush one more time. The only way I can think of a solid way of trying to get any sort of lead, finding these sarcophagi, is by talking to Bonato. I don't know any other. I mean, do you have any connections, Doctor? Excuse me, Savage.
Do I, DM? Because I don't remember.
Connections to Bonato?
Yeah.
By like transmission, you work for Luciano, who is the head of one of the boroughs in New York. Bonato is the overall like kingpin of New York. So like Luciano works for Bonato, sort of like a partnership because like they each own a separate borough, but Bonato is like the
president.
Essentially, like it's a there's different gang members that own different boroughs, and he owns the head one essentially. So like each person gets to run their district the way they want, but they report to him essentially.
Right. They're like generals to an emperor.
So he has an in, but not to the man himself, just like a man of the man.
Yeah, I mean, meta-wise, you guys can keep discussing, but you guys have talked to Lucky directly already, and obviously.
No, but we haven't talked to Bonato though.
Right, but you have someone that works directly for Bonato, is what I'm saying.
I know. I'm just making an RP conversation of trying to set up a conversation with Luciano or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, Dr. Savage will pretty much convey that. Like, he does have some dealings with Lucky Luciano, but that's about as far up the chain he gets.
You see a eyebrow raise. I hate to change the subject, but please, can you elaborate? You see, he is like surprised by someone of a man of the cloth, so to speak, is surprised to hear that.
A man of like you're a man of the cloth?
I'm a doctor. You're a doctor.
Oh, well, I don't really discriminate in the clientele my patients come in, so basically I just give them some patchwork every occasion when they need it. And so because of that, I have some favors and ins and outs of the business.
Please don't take this as any sort of aggression. But yeah, I know, Don. Okay, I realized when I said that, but I thought maybe everyone would know what I was talking about, and no one did, and here I am.
I got the reference, but I was like, I'm not a clergyman, so.
Yeah. Do you find yourself working for Luciano often?
Not all the time, just when they're really needing some help.
Do you think you've made enough of a reputation to ask something of Luciano, like putting together a meeting for us to speak to Bonato?
I mean, he does owe me some favors because I've, helped his boys out. I don't work for him, I should say that. I just help him out. But
well,
yeah,
sure, but
he does
I'm
owe
sure
me some favors,
favor.
so I guess he could pull some strings.
Because I'm sure Carmela could potentially put in some good word too, but if you've taken care of his family, I'm sure he feels indebted to you in a way that he doesn't feel to Carmela.
At least DM, I feel like since he's patched up some of his men and, probably saved a good few of their lives, he's got at least a favor or two he could try to pull.
Are you talking with Luciano or Bonato?
Yeah, Luciana.
Oh yeah.
Luciano to maybe get a meeting with Picado, Paciano, whoever is.
Yeah, Archie the boss, Bonato. To
Papa
be
Cheese.
honest, as far as like setting up this meeting goes, I wasn't too worried about it. Mostly because between you and Carmilla, you guys have so much rapport with Luciano, and with how you're helping Luciano with what happened with the shapeshifter in the first place, there shouldn't be an issue with setting up a meeting with Archie the boss. So.
Cool.
But yes, you have patched up plenty of Luciano's men, so being able to call in a favor wouldn't be an issue. But I would say, meta-wise, you wouldn't necessarily need to call in a favor because he's already on board with trying to solve the whole supernatural shit that's gone down with his crew. So
Okay. Well, have you introduced yourself by your first name to me yet? Or has it just been Dr. Savage?
Just Dr. Savage.
Okay.
I mean, y'all have only known each other for what, like 2 days? Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was wondering. Well, I can say that I am thoroughly impressed. It seems that you have quite the rugged background, and I would love to know what sort of relationship you have with your parents. But before that can happen, I feel like a proper introduction is to be made. My name is Gilus Hornbyll, and I am a proud resident of New York City. And I'll extend a very gentlemanly sort of handshake towards you.
He'll give you a gentleman's handshake back. Dr. John Savage. Call me Dr. Savage. I work here in Arkham. I have a surgical clinic I run, and I'm not very up and up with this occult research and investigation we're doing, but I will provide any medical needs.
Well, Dr. Savage, I will say I am very pleased. So far, over the last 6 months, I have been able to help Archibald here with dealing with the occult. It's been, just enough, but it's nice to know that we have a doctor of your standing to join side by side with me. I feel much more safe knowing that if I had a deadly cut, you might be able to address it.
Pretty much. I appreciate the compliment, I should say. And I'm glad that we have a psychologist of your caliber here, too.
Of course. So, I think we arrange a meeting with Luciano, no?
Why not? I think between me and Lorna, we can get it done. Or no, Carmela.
Carmela, yes. I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for the time being, the cultist will be in PICA's control, so if we ever need to come back, I'm sure we can ask more questions.
I agree.
Will you just give me one moment? Oh wait. Never mind. I was just going to think of a cute little RP moment, but my camera's probably back in New York, so never mind.
yeah, I
Well,
guess that's where
sounds
your
like we
wisdom
have
is.
some kind of plan together here.
Of course. Violet, how do you feel about all this? I know you are usually just taking notes, but I mean, does this sound exciting to you at all? How do you feel about trying to find out about information from Bonato?
Again, she's just been writing in her notebook everything. So she looks up at you and be like, Oh, sounds good to me, as long as I can make sure I get lots of notes and for my book. But no, sounds good to me.
Perfect. I guess I'll just finish up my soup now because it's cooled down enough after this conversation.
Well, damn, I'm sure Archibald stuffs his sandwich in his face.
As a therapist, I can confirm I like the sound of my own voice.
That sounds like a very
Yeah.
big head.
Yeah,
In
as you
more ways
guys
than one.
finish up lunch here, having a decent game plan, we'll say Dr. Savage and Carmilla, you're able to ring Luciano and kind of like facilitate this happening. But it's probably going to take a couple days just based off of Bonato's schedule to get you up there. Based off of the conversations Luciano has had with Bonato over the last day or two, Bonato is also interested in you guys, having been
perfect.
informed on some of the stuff you guys have already done up in New York. Because you recall, he knew that PICA was involved with Leroy Turner, and you guys heard him outside the garage.
Yeah,
during that
we
encounter.
we were like, it was Lorna and I think Archibald who were spying on them. Yeah, I remember.
So he's agreed to it. It'll be a couple days, but you have that to look forward to during our next session. Before we close out for the evening, is there any last-minute things folks would like to do to close out this session? Otherwise, we'll close it here with lunch.
As far as the rest of the afternoon is concerned, I'm going to just like float around with Archibald, keeping a therapeutic eye on him, because over the last, especially the last week in particular, feeling a little concerned. So I'll spend my idle time with Archibald on the side.
Perfect. Any parting shots from other people?
I think that's it.
Yeah, as we depart from the lunch table, Archibald is going to be following Dr. Savage around very nonchalantly, hiding behind lampposts and stuff.
And
so you're gonna have a piggy bag of people. Why don't we end off the session with a roll here for both of you on how you're fucking piggybacking off of each other. I think it's what have we been rolling for, like the stealth? Has it been a navigate?
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Oh no, there is a stealth. Both of you give me a stealth on how well you're tailing.
I do not have. I have a 20% chance. I have the default.
That's not bad.
I failed with a 32. I was close. But I didn't expect. To be honest, like.
You're not necessarily trying to be super discreet,
Yeah.
so it kind of fits.
Yeah.
Archibald, what was yours?
Larissa,
Yes.
stealth roll.
Oh, hell yeah. Can I just fail? Wait, what am I stealth rolling for?
How well you're tailing Dr. Savage.
Can I just fail this?
If you'd like, you can go that route by all means.
Yeah, no, Archibald 100% fails this. He's not trying to hide, but he's trying to make Dr. Savage think that he thinks he's hiding. So every time the Dr. Savage turns around, Archibald leaps behind a corner or like hides up behind a lamppost, but he's standing horizontally on the fucking lamppost so you can see his shoulders behind it. Like he's not trying to hide from you at all, but he is tailing you, and every time you do something, he takes notes of it.
Archibald is like playing the 40 chess right now.
Perfect. All right. Unless anybody else has anything, I think we'll end it there with the
All right.
normal Archibald shenanigans. Thank you guys for playing.